Oh my goodness, it is always a struggle. Hello guys, good morning. Oh, I am so embarrassed. I had a stream going and there were like 15 people in the waiting room, and then like I don't know what happened, but I pushed a button. But we made it. Good morning everyone. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. Good morning guys. I'm Lauren Cadillac. I was supposed to be streaming from home today, but like I realized I don't have the appropriate stream software on my home computer. So like, okay, let me go to the office. And I got to the office and there were people here, and I'm like, why are there people here? It's July 5th. I should be the only one at work. I made my stream and then I messed it up. Compose yourself, woman. Whew. All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Good morning to everyone that was on the last stream that I messed up. I appreciate you coming. I know several of you have refrained from watching content about this transcript so that we could do it together, and I really appreciate you. I know that it is difficult. I was lying around yesterday with my dude, and we were flipping through YouTube, and someone had the transcript, and I said, oh, we can't watch that, flip that, change that. So he said, why? I said, because I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. Hello. Okay, so what happened? Sorry, Blue. Sorry, everyone that was in the original stream. What happened is Lauren, okay? I am so, it's weird. Like, my whole family is like computer nerds and like programmers and stuff. But me, I just have this magic touch where I just like ruin things. So I had a stream going, I was ready to go, and then I pushed too many buttons. I think I got impatient or something, and I ended up having to call the lid and like redo it. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. Okay, so a lot of you held out for me so that we could do this transcript together, and I appreciate you so much. I know it was hard. I know it was difficult. So I really hope that I can make sure your wait was worth it today, all right? I'm going to make sure. Okay, I am Lauren Cadillac. I am an attorney in Dallas, Texas. I do real estate law, which is quite litigious, so this means I am a courtroom attorney. I'm a litigator. Before I messed up everything here on the stream today, I was filing notices of hearings and motions with courts this morning. So I am very much a courtroom attorney. I am not a criminal defense attorney. Main reason being I'm a single mom and I don't really have the desire to work with criminals. You'll never know what a criminal will do. A true criminal could really fuck you up. Oh, that was too soon, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So early in the stream. I'm sorry. All right. So I do civil. I do real estate, and I am a litigator. I'm in the courtroom. I've had a couple jury trials. They're really not that common. I mean, quite frankly, in civil, we usually don't end up going to trial. Well, actually, I'm going to argue that maybe in criminal they don't go to trial a lot, too, because we've seen this Young Thug trial. Really looks like these prosecutors don't have a whole lot of trial experience. So, very interesting. All right, so I started watching this Young Thug trial because I find the use of lyrics against someone to be very interesting. I think it is a violation of the First Amendment. And so I kind of just like started to peek in on it. And then, of course, it's just been a train wreck the whole way, a whole train wreck. And y'all, I love train wrecks. Hey, CG, good morning. Blue, I did not see Seti and Woody. I know that Seti talked to Woody, but I didn't see what they talked about. I didn't see the video, nothing. So, I wish Woody would come on my channel, but he probably hasn't heard of me. I'm only OG Cadillac. Hello. Y'all see my cool bag? We are working on the merch store, okay? We're working on the merch. We're going to have some soon. Before I get into it, let me just do some real quick housekeeping. I am going to be in Atlanta on August 13th and August 14th. I am confident the trial will have resumed by that day. So it is my intention to meet y'all in the courtroom in the afternoon of the 13th, then do a meet and greet in the evening of the 13th, and then do a another full day of court on the 14th. So I lost track of my brain there. I started thinking about how I had this all-day hearing on Wednesday, and we didn't get done, so I'm going to have an all-day hearing this next Wednesday. And that made me think about when will we actually put together the meet and greet. Probably, I said July 8th because I thought I would be free of all burdens by then, but really it's probably going to be like the week after that. All right, so forgive me, but I will have more details, and I will have more details to come about merch. All right, we're putting that together. I just want it to be like really cool before I do it. We're also going to work on like membership tiers, but we're just still swamped with work. I know, Woody would be so great. I would love having Woody, but I might have this problem where I don't understand him. When I had my car accident, I sustained a brain injury in my left lobe, and I kind of like hit the part that does auditory processing. So I have a difficult time understanding people, even when they're speaking like super smoothly and clearly. And then when they're mumbling like Woody and have that dialect like he does, it's really hard for me. Like almost all of those videos have been a waste of my time because I don't understand a word they say. A word. All right, so thank you everyone who's here. I'm Lauren Cadillac, aka OG Cadillac, aka Mother of the Decade. My daughter told me I was Mother of the Decade, so thank you, I won. Okay, guys, so let us get in. I know, Box, I'm like, this is a new thing. I have almost 6,000 subscribers, you guys. I'm so excited. I had a video, 80,000 people saw one of my videos. 80,000 people. Like, that's the size of a normal town. Not Dallas. We have 8 million people now. It's a nightmare. God, traffic is awful. Ugh. So bad. Exactly why I've never wanted to live in LA. All right, here we go. Let's go. Let's get into the transcript. All right. Maybe another CG or somebody could be like a translator for me if Woody came on. You know, Belinda's translating for me for Spanish. Entiendo mucho, pero hablo así. I get nervous about, like, am I actually conjugating these verbs correctly, which I'm not. And so I don't speak Spanish nearly as well as I really understand it. Thank you, Alexis. And Alexis, I'm so sorry. Alexis was the first person in the original live that totally got screwed up because of yours truly. I'm so sorry, Alexis. I don't know what is wrong with me when it comes to tech. Okay, guys and gals. I had the whole day off yesterday, okay? And when I tell you I took the day off, I took 2 naps, each of an hour and a half long, an 11 o'clock nap and a 3 o'clock nap. I was like a toddler at daycare, y'all, and it was great. It was great, but I am discombobulated having to work today. It is like, ooh. Okay, Tavana says she'll translate for Woody. Tavana, I just bought myself these earrings, and they did make me think, well, they made me think of Arizona, where I grew up, because they have saguaro cactus, but it made me think of you, because you had got me some fabulous earrings, so thank you so much for that. All right, y'all, let's get into this transcript. I hope y'all have seen the thumbnail. The thumbnail, I specifically said to Belin, I read the transcript, Belin, and it's as if Woody isn't there. I said the perfect thumbnail would be all of these people and kind of like a semi-invisible Woody. And y'all, I think she nailed it. Our thumbnail is bomb on this week. That is what I take away from this transcript. Whether or not, if this is the full document, this is the full thing, if this is the full interaction, Woody was completely ignored. We're going to get into it. There's a whole section where they're just like, you can imagine a scene in a movie. They're just talking over them. It is wild. Okay, somebody, I'm going to take notes because I want to really get this timing. Thank you, Tavana. I think they're cute too. I really saw them and I was like, oh, I need these. These remind me of where I grew up. And they match my shirt, which, like I said, the merch is coming eventually. All right, I'm going to write this down. 9:10 a.m. they start. I like timelines, y'all. Like when you can use a timeline graphically for a jury or even if you just have a judge in a trial, it is great. It is a great way to wrap brains around things. Okay, here we go. Court repetitor says, I'm ready whenever you are. Oh, let's first talk about who's in there. Glanville, who I found this ridiculous article about this weekend. I thought I had lined it up, but it's somewhere. It's one of those articles where you pay someone to write the article and then they go like try to get it on Bloomberg and da-da-da. It's really not good. He must have done it for his campaign or something. All right, Judge Glanville, ADA Love, Bumpus, court reporter, and investigators Antonia Long and Rashid Hamilton. So we've got Glanville, Love, Bumpus, court reporter, and 2 investigators. Okay. But I don't see that Woody's here yet. I don't see that yet, okay? All right, here we go. It's all right, Vintage CB. We are literally just starting. Shelly, I am going to get into my opinions after we get through this transcript, because this transcript really is what creates the weight of my opinions. All right? All right, getting ready to get my reading voice on. All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here. Hey, make sure you hit like before I get into reading to you. I'm perfectly willing to read out loud to y'all. But please hit like, okay? Subscribe. We're almost at 6,000 subscribers. I'm so freaking excited. I can't believe 6,000 people like me. Like, I can't believe even, like, really, honestly, I can't believe the people who live with me and love me sometimes. I'm like, I don't know why they love me. Like, my daughter, I understand because she has to, but my man, I'm like, he chooses to love me. It's really beautiful. And the fact that there are 6,000 of you who even, like, remotely like me is just thrilling. Thank you. That's so exciting. Okay. Here we go. Miss Love. Okay, so first let me point out who the court reporter says I'm ready. All right, now usually, anytime I've been around a judge, when the court reporter says I'm ready, the judge, who, again, this is his chambers, this is his office, the judge goes first. But we all know, y'all who have been watching me, y'all trial geeks, you all know as well as I do, Miss Love runs Glanville's courtroom. And it appears she runs his chambers. She goes first. Judge doesn't even give like an intro. It's as if he's not even there. We should have made Glanville semi-invisible on the thumbnail. Okay, here we go. And that was the first thing I noticed. Like, damn, Miss Love just really... But of course we know that. Hello. We see her do that every day. Just take control. All right. Thank you. The concern that we want... I can't do her voice, you guys. I'm not that annoying. The concern we wanted to bring to the court's attention as the state was twofold. One, we want to have the opportunity to impress upon Copeland with representation present that he faces, and we want to give him that he faces? Present that he faces. And we want to give him an opportunity to ask whatever questions he wanted to ask before he was we had to pull him in the courtroom when jury came out. What the hell? Okay. Good morning, Tamika. Hi, Kiki. Hi, Alex. Everyone. Lori. Okay, Sweet Lady Sugar, good to see you today. I'm going to just reread this paragraph. Now, English is an interesting language. English is a context language, so you have to have like the full context. That's why you hear all these sound bites that ruin people's lives. But if you heard the full context, they probably weren't saying something as awful as the sound bite sounds, right? Or maybe it was worse, who knows. But it's a context language. It's also like a body language, okay? Like, you know, you guys see me, I'm talking to you, and you guys are a camera, I'm gesticulating, right? Like, so, there is going to be a lot lost. And that is really what has been my other impression, besides Woody just being completely overlooked, is there is a lot lost. There's a lot of missing something here. Okay, so let me just read this paragraph again. 1, we wanted to have the opportunity to impress upon Mr. Copeland with representation present that he faces, and we wanted to give him an opportunity to ask whatever questions he wanted to ask before he was we had to pull him into the courtroom when the jury came out. What? What? So, are the dashes pauses, or are the dashes where something has been taken away? because none of these are even complete sentences. These are not complete sentences. Now, we all know that when we hear YSL Adams present an argument, it is complete. He is using complete sentences. He completes his thoughts, right? And we know almost nobody else in that courtroom, including our beloved Shard. Well, I guess YSL Silver Fox does do that, but Shard doesn't do it that well, you know, and we know the prosecution doesn't do it that well. So it's like not a surprise that she's talking in like half sentences, but it is questionable. And it makes you go, what did we lose? Like, what are we missing here? Because we're missing something. Okay, so that was the first concern, which I can't even tell you what that concern is. You want him to ask questions with his lawyer present? Like, why couldn't he have done that the Friday before you put him in jail when his other real lawyer was there? Okay, all right, we'll get back into Miss Love. The second concern I have is, and I wanted to bring the court's attention in line with the concern that I expressed on the record Friday, I don't know what advice counsel may have offered or may be offering. That is their right and their business. Is that a concern? As it relates to testifying, however, I do not believe that criminal exposure is a concern. That is, which interest is being spoken about and protected. What? Has she communicated like anything anyone understands right now? Like at all? Let me come over here. Let me see if any of you understand this. I don't know what's going on. Hi Tyrese, good morning. If Mr. Steele would come on my platform, I would gladly have him. Okay, yeah, like, I don't know, Alexis. I am so confused. I just read through 2 paragraphs. I don't even hear it or see a concern. And this is the thing, I'm a pretty good critical reader. I've always been advanced reading for whatever year I was. And then I went to law school, and then I got an LLM, which is a master's degree in law. So I can read pretty well. I don't see a concern outlined in either. Okay, Alexis is still confused. Go Roro, I don't know. And so far we don't have Woody in this room, so the prosecutors aren't doing anything with Woody at this point. But I'm like, so I've only read through this once, and I didn't read it out loud. I feel like when you read things out loud, there's a different, you're able to catch things differently than if you just read them in your mind. So I am now reading this out loud for the first time. And we know she's not a great lawyer, but like, okay, all right. Mr. Melnick relayed to Ms. Hilton on Friday that he had never heard of the statute 245507. On Friday, he sent an email. Oh, okay, I love this email, by the way. Melnick, you know, not all heroes wear capes. A lot of heroes wear suits in Fulton County courtrooms. Okay, suits and ties, y'all. I don't know if he intentionally copied Mr. Steele and Mr. Shart. I don't know if he intentionally put my name on it. But he sent an email to Mr. Steele and Mr. Shart when me and Simone copied, where he said, "This is the communication that I received from Miss Love regarding Mr. Copeland." I'm pretty sure he put Steele and Shart on it because they should know what Miss Love is saying about witnesses and 2 witnesses. I don't know. My response was, whose interests are you protecting? Yours or Mr. Steele's? Y'all, she is obsessed with Steele. She is obsessed with Steele. She is constantly calling him a liar. She is constantly making shit up to try to make him look bad. She is obsessed with him. Look at this. Yours or Mr. Steele? She had just said Steele or Shard. So why is she is so hyper-focused on Mr. Steele? Which clients are you protecting? Whose client? Yours or Mr. Steele's and Mr. Shard's? Oh, finally we hear Mr. Shard. He wrote back. Okay, here's where the cape comes in, y'all. He wrote back and said, "You are going to get him killed. You have made him. You are making him a target. Fuck you." I want to see that email, y'all. Maybe I should do criminal defense because I just love the dramatics. The dramatics are so dramatic. it's justified dramatics though. Like I don't mean to say that they are being like over dramatic, because I believe this is justified. There are people whose lives are on the line. Okay, these people are being forced to sit in jail. They've been forced to sit in jail for 2 years. Their livelihood and their lives are on the line, and that is exactly what the Constitution is supposed to protect us from. So the dramatics are completely justified. But it is not that dramatic in civil court. At least not when I'm involved. Like, when I'm fighting over, like, you know, lot lines, you know, money, real property. That's important. But you're not going to, like, be locked in jail for the rest of your life, right? Like, it's not, it's on the level of importance, you know, preventing or making sure constitutional rights are applied before someone is put in jail is a bit of a higher duty, I think. You know, that they have a higher burden for a reason, the government, right? So it's not that dramatic in civil court usually where I'm from. It's really not that dramatic. It is so dramatic here, and I love it. I am here for it, y'all. Like, I spent all yesterday catching up on my trash shows like MILF Manor and Love Island. Like, I am here for the drama. And boy, do they got it. Melnick is, ugh. I could never write that in an email to a fellow attorney. I could say it out loud to their face, but not in an email. I wouldn't want it to come back in a courtroom. I would have put it in writing, you know? Okay, all right. So, I'm sorry. When I read that part, I was just like, oh my God, Melnick is... He's done what all of us have wanted to do. He is really rallying for us. Okay, now, this is the thing. When I came on was it last week or earlier this week? Time is just blurred for me, y'all. Anyhow, when I came in to talk about the Karen Reed verdict, I had been informed by y'all that one of Woody's friends had actually been murdered over the weekend. So Mr. Melnick is not at all, like, unjustified in being upset about this woman. You are going to get him killed. I bet this says you have made him a target, but, you know, she's taking breaks. She's not quoting exactly. I am sure he said you have made him a target. And this is really true. They did make him a target, and that is now evidenced by this person dying. But that also helps Glanville's argument when he goes before the court about his recusal. So we're getting to that. We're going to get through the transcript. We're going to get to the recusal. We're going to get there, okay? Just come with me, all right? I'll get you there. All right. So given his concern is that by testifying, at least one that he conveyed to me in writing is not, his concern has nothing to do with exposure from the state. And if his concern... Okay, now finally the judge speaks. We're in the judge's chambers. Oh, sorry. We're in the judge's chambers. Finally speaks on line 17 of page 4. Line 17 of page 4. Okay, no, so second page of writing. 1, 2, so, no. Yeah, second page of writing, line 17. The judge, whose chambers this is, who should be leading this meeting as well as his courtroom, finally says something. Miss Love finally allows the judge to speak. His being whose concern. I am done. I have this rule. Part of my brain injury is that I cannot follow pronouns. His being whose concern. Who was him? Who was who? Why don't you could say Melnick being Woody's concern, Woody being Melnick's concern, but y'all, stop using pronouns all the time. Proper noun, pronoun that matches that proper noun, pronoun that matches that proper noun. Do it for me, y'all. Do it for people with brain injuries, okay? I can. Oh well, she, and we're talking about 5 different women, and I'm supposed to know who is who is who. So if the judge said this to me, I would say, I'm sorry, Your Honor, I suffered a brain injury that does not allow me to follow pronouns. I don't know who you're talking about. Could you use the proper noun for me? Our parents gave us names for a reason. I am the anti-pronoun queen. I'm also the anti-saying on yesterday queen, okay? I mean, it's just my brain injury. Before my brain injury, I would know exactly who these people were talking about. I was practically psychic. But now I am not. And I can't follow, and it drives me nuts. My mom gave me the name Lauren so that people could call me that. And when you're telling a story about me, you could call me that. Lauren said that her mother was mean when she was a child. But now we got when she was a child. So when Lauren was a child, that would have been more proper, and then you could follow it better. Susan, talking in circles is exactly what they did. And that, we're getting into that. This transcript made my eyes just cross. Okay, so the court finally is allowed to speak in his own space. Crazy. Miss Love says, Mr. Melnick, if the interest that he is protecting is Mr. Copeland's freedom, he did not convey it by asking us what exposure does he face in testifying. In fact, if he's concerned that testifying will get Mr. Copeland killed and he is not communicating with us, he's communicating with counsel for defendants, it would seem that he knows a thing or something that we don't know. I was just going to say, yeah, that you're a bitch. That you're a bitch and he doesn't want to deal with you. He does know something. He knows you have a freaking attitude problem and he does not want to deal with you anymore. Additionally, and I will let Miss Bumpus tell you, he said if Copeland testifies, he's no longer representing Copeland, which is strange because if your interest is your client, then it would seem you would want to be there for him while he is testifying. This is the same shit she pulled on Steele talking about, oh, well, we got the data and it looks like it was wiped. And Steele is like, I handed you exactly what I got. Well, it looks like it was wiped. Are you alluding that I somehow lied to the court? Well, it looks like it was wiped, bitch. She's doing this with Melnick. It's ridiculous. And the court says, well, he's on vacation. So it doesn't even matter. Why are you wasting our government dollars having this discussion about Melnick when he's not even here? Don't forget, 100% of this is our tax dollars. Well, not mine. I don't live in Fulton County. Well, this is tax dollars, American tax dollars, paying for this fucking conversation. Pardon my language. Goodness gracious, y'all. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to try to stay not too lit about this, but you know, yesterday was America's birthday, and I'm feeling very patriotic, and this is really not upholding that Constitution, and this really irritates me. But I want you to know that right here, where he says, when Love says, if he's concerned that testifying will get Mr. Copeland killed, the judge is allowed to have an ex parte meeting with a sworn witness if there are concerns that that sworn witness is going to be hurt, injured, tampered with, beat up, whatever it may be. So, by line 22 on the second page, first, and then last weekend's killing, the judge is in the clear. Having this meeting was allowed to talk about Woody's safety. Now, what's interesting is they touch on it here, but then they kind of lose track of his safety, and it's like Woody's completely invisible. But once the court's like, look, there was a safety concern, that's allowed. Right now, Woody's not even in the room, so all of this is allowed. If they're talking about his safety, it's allowed, and the defense does not have to be alerted. All right. Let's see. That's why he has Bumpus here, and he said what he said. and I was reading the statute. The thing that is, and I was reading the statute about this particular situation, and I was reading our rules, our ethic rules of conduct for attorneys, and it's clear that if an attorney, there were two things that were happening. Does Miss Love have a complete thought? Like, is she capable of taking a thought from her brain and, like, making a complete sentence out loud? But I haven't seen it. I have yet to see it happen. One, Melnick had told me that he wasn't Copeland's lawyer. Lie. Copeland had told Miss Hilton that Melnick wasn't representing him. But Miss Hilton shouldn't have been talking to Melnick for him, or I'm sorry, shouldn't have been talking to Woody for Woody to say that. Because they knew. We're going to get into that. I just want someone to write a bar grievance and literally just, all you need is his transcript. And you got Miss Love and you got Miss Hilton in violation of the bar rules. On their face, admitting it. They admit it. Copeland told Hilton, Miss Melnick was in communication with Mr. Steele and Shart, and Melnick reaches out to Copeland and injects himself in these proceedings. No, he didn't. And guess what? Woody has a right to counsel, and his counsel has a right to show up there. This is exactly, remember I told you the story, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, about I had a client, my mentee, I care very deeply about this young man, like a nephew, okay? And he witnessed something, they're calling him in, and I call and I say, hey, I represent him, I'll be there. And the prosecutor freaks out on me. Well, why does he have a lawyer? Because it's his constitutional right. Told you I'm feeling really sassy today. It's his constitutional right. So he's going to show with the lawyer. And you don't get to be upset about it, about injecting, because that's not what it is. What we were discussing was in no way a matter that Mr. Melnick was representing Mr. Copeland on, and that's where we are not allowed to speak with a person when they are represented by counsel. Mr. Melnick could not have been representing Mr. Copeland on anything we were talking about, because we were talking about this case and this trial. All that aside, we would like an opportunity for the court to address Mr. Copeland with Mr. Copeland's standing counsel present. Miss Bumpus is looking at me like... Okay, like I said in the beginning, there's a lot lost in the body language, right? So Miss Bumpus is probably staring at Miss Love like... she's probably making some very confused faces. Because, Miss Love hasn't actually said anything yet. Bumpus says, I'm listening. And by the way, I love how Bumpus handles this. I really do. I think she did a stellar job. I think she did a great job because she was put in a whack position, okay? She is standing in and then she gets dragged into this ex parte meeting. It is not a good place to be. Okay. With his standing counsel president, allow Miss Bumpus opportunity to explain to Mr. Copeland everything I've just said. Well, I don't know how she could do that because nobody understands what you just said. Her concern outside was what the longest was what is the longest he can stay in jail. That should end with a question mark. What I relayed to her is the statute saying until he purges. Now the court speaks again. It's been 2 solid pages. By testifying. His contempt by testifying. Yeah, 507 is a little bit different. So, Bumpus says, so until the end of this? Court says he could be here until the end of trial. Bumpus says, that's what I said. To the end of trial is the longest. So Bumpus is already like, yo, I just said to the end of this, bruh. I love it. That's what I said. That's how I talk. Thank you. That's exactly what I said. So you do understand what I just said then. Going to law school makes you sassier. Like, if you were already sassy, you are going to be sassier. It's not our fault. It's how they train us. Miss Love now says, no, it's not the longest. Even after a grand jury, if a person has been subpoenaed to testify before the grand jury, and even after the grand jury has, what is it, covened, has left? Does she mean convened? Does she not know English? She starts to really miss a couple words here. Now, I miss words sometimes too. It definitely happens. Like, I'll be mid-sentence and completely forget what word I was just thinking of. So I get it. I got hit real hard 20 years ago in the head in my car accident. She has some kind of issue going. That person can stay until that person purges himself of contempt by testifying. The statute literally says that. Bumpus. Well, I'm going to look it up because it was my understanding that it was until the end of trial. Miss Love. Nope. Here it is. Literally the words of the statute. Can you not just see her going like this? No. Here it is. Literally the words of the statute. I can. That's exactly how I picture this. She's so cringy. Hey, Ron. Glad you made it. It's all right. Uncommon says Ms. Love is there for a check. No, she is there for much more than a check. She is there on a power trip. Okay, that woman has some deep rooted power and control issues. Okay, the court says he could be in there a while. Let's just put it that way. Either way, Bumpus says, I just want to be able to give him. Court says, I know. It's kind of the statute says, that you purge, but I can keep him there. I can't keep him there indefinitely. I gotta kinda. And Bumpus says, right. That's all I want to know. Court says, the whole thing is that he has the keys to his own freedom. And that freedom is if he just gives his testimony, then he's purged it. Bumpus says, right. Bumpus knows she read the law, sir. Thank you. Miss Love says, and whatever that testimony is, we know what we believe it to be, but we don't know what it is. We can't talk about it. We don't, we don't know what he's going to say. We have an idea. We know what he's told us. Have you ever heard of someone who just likes to hear the sound of their own voice? Have y'all heard those people? This is Miss Love. She is I don't know. I don't know if that means she's narcissistic. I don't know what that means, but this woman loves the sound of her own voice. Good God. You're talking in circles. Oh, it gets worse, y'all. It gets worse. Our concern is that I know that the court said essentially you intimidated that Mr. Melnick probably told him essentially you should testify. They are not going to. They can't do anything with your testimony. But what we overheard being said was they're going to hammer you. As if we were going to expose Kenneth Copeland too. Bumpus says, you heard that? Love says, yes, yeah. Melnick told Copeland we're going to hammer him. He can tell him that. And they are going to hammer him. Hello? It's the fucking truth. I tell my clients shit like that all the time. You're going to get hammered. This is going to happen. I tell my clients, I don't want you. I had a client, there's no way he's going to testify. Every time you ask him a question, he changes the answer. He was ridiculous. He just would get nervous and speak, right? So I told him, you're not going to testify. Because if you testify, they will hammer you. That's our job. That's literally our job. He's doing his job, telling his client, you're going to get hammered. Court. Now, to be fair, I think Miss Bumpus is an advocate, or anybody has got to tell him he's going to face some pretty significant cross-examination. Thank you, Judge. Exactly. It's his job to tell him he's going to get hammered. Bumpus says, yeah, I think that's what he meant. I like how she does, you guys. I love what she says. Court says, he's got about 10. Love cuts off the judge and says, so he meant the defense is going to hammer him? Bumpus says, no, just in general, it's not going to be a hey, ha, da, da, da. Love says he knew it. He had already been expressing that. Court says, but I think that if he's concerned about that, but it's all in the message and packaging in terms of, I think Mr. Copeland is, a very savvy person. But, he's certainly going to be subject to thorough and sifting cross-examination. I got to count this. 1, 2, 3. 3 in one sentence. saying you know means he has no confidence in what he's saying. Or he's trying to think of the next thing to say, and he really isn't thinking of anything. Army Nurse, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. The lady typing the transcript expressed her opinion when she said Miss Bumpus was looking at the lawyer. Says, when can the state give federal immunity? The state cannot give federal immunity. They can't. The state can only give state immunity. And I'm going to get into my issues with this immunity stuff when we get over here, okay? I really appreciate that $10 super chat. Thank you so much. This is the last time y'all will see me with this camera. Because of you, I've been able to buy an adequate and appropriate computer and an adequate and appropriate camera. I just have to like get it all working. And when I say I mean Belen is going to come get it all working for me. And then we have better sound. You know, I work on this. When you guys give me feedback, I take it. And thank you since you're supporting me, and thanks to your support, I'm able to buy this equipment. So I really appreciate it. And thank you so much, Army Nurse. Thank you for being here. Okay. Miss Love. And the other thing is that, Bumpus, can I just say something in Attorney Melnick's defense in response, just for the record? Miss Love says yes. Miss Love says yes, you can say it for the record. Bitch, you are not the authority. I would not have done well in this room. I would have looked at Miss Love and said, I wasn't asking you. He's the judge, not you. He's in charge, not you. No, me and Miss Love would not do well together. When I go on August 13th, I have no intention of meeting Miss Love. Like, I am not going to say hi and introduce myself. I have no intention of that. We are not the type that are going to get along. We're going to clash. I am old enough to know the type of personalities that I can get along with and the type of personalities I cannot, okay? All right. But I do want to meet all those defense attorneys. I truly do. They're just amazing. Okay, Miss Bumpus. The reason he doesn't want to move forward with representation, what I've been told, if he decides to testify, is he doesn't feel like he can. He doesn't know what was said outside of his presence. So he doesn't feel like he can adequately represent him or counsel him because he doesn't know what was told to the state when he wasn't there. Okay, so she's talking about Melnick. She's saying Melnick doesn't want to represent Woody because the state had these conversations with Woody and he doesn't know what the content of the conversations were. So it's really hard to represent Woody when you don't know what's already been said or what. That is again, y'all, Bumpus has really, she posted some silly ass video on YouTube. I'm going to show it to you later, but she really impressed me in this meeting. Okay. She really did. Turns out she's a good lawyer. Yeah. So I love it. I love it. Miss Love says, but the thing is, the only thing that he should be concerned about, first of all, don't nobody never tell me what I should feel concerned about. Don't ever tell me, a grown woman who pays her own bills. This is a grown man paying his own bills. She's talking about what he should be concerned about. You don't know him. You don't know his life. You don't know what he should be concerned. You really don't know what he should be concerned about because his friend was freaking murdered. If I was Bumpus, I would have popped off on her. I could not be nice. I'm not that nice of a person to start with, okay? And no. I had a client in here come here one day, told me to calm down. I said, get out of my office now. You do not tell me what to do or how I should feel or what I should this or should that. And Miss Love should not be telling witnesses what their concerns are. She does not know, and she doesn't care. Okay, rant over. Sorry. I told y'all, I'm on a tear today. Okay. Concerned about the criminal exposure that Kenneth has criminally, and there's literally nothing. The statute's quite clear that we can do to him about The only thing that would put him in harm's way is a lie and a refusal to testify after being ordered to do so by the court. She just caught herself there. The statute is quite clear that we can do to him about, and I bet she was going to say anything. And then she caught herself and said the only thing that would put him in harm's way is a lie and a refusal to testify. Well, we know that's a lie. We know that's not true. Control freak love. People calling her Frankenlove. I don't think Frankenstein asked for is enough of a control freak to compare this woman. When I tell you she reminds me of my mother, she reminds me of my mother. And by lie, we don't mean like, oh, I think you're lying. You know, it would have to be, you know, something obvious, you know, because we can always impeach. But if he literally perjures himself, that's something different. We can't help that. We can't control that. We would only say, tell the truth. I don't care how bad it is, just tell the truth. So, you know, like he says, I didn't go down to the police station. When you see you know that many times, then you should be aware that she does not know. The court. I think part of his challenge, Ms. Bumpus, may be that you need to assure him, look, I'm going to be here. And if you think that they're asking you a question, they being the state or defense, is asking you a question that's going to bring out other crimes, that he's going to be able to look to you and say, can I have a chance to talk to you? Okay, dear world Christians, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I appreciate it. You found my channel and you love it. You're enjoying my passion. I'm glad you enjoy the passion and it doesn't make you so upset. I hope to see you at the live in Atlanta as well. I can't wait to meet all of y'all. And I'm bringing goodies and stuff, like all kinds of Cadillac log swag and all kinds of goodie. I'm really hoping to have merch ready to take to get signed and then be able to do some kind of great giveaway. So, all right, y'all. Here we go. Miss Love says, that's exactly right. And Miss Bumpus says, uh-huh. I like Bumpus, y'all. She's, uh-huh. Like, really? Okay. See, but that's just it. Bumpus, no, he's not. No, he's not. Hold on. Look at it. No, he's not what? I don't understand. Miss Love, hold on. That's just it, Judge. The problem is that there's been an assertion that people are representing, and I'm not talking about you. Bumpus says, yeah. There's been an assertion that people are representing that their biggest concern is his best interest, and they're just not here. And Miss Bumpus is saying she's not in a position to do that? What? This woman is now upset that Melnick is on vacation when he told them he was going to be on vacation. He sent someone in his stead? Okay. No, I'm not in a position. I'm saying that the agreement between Copeland and Melnick, who I'm standing in for, is that if he chooses to testify, I'm to get him to sign this paper that says that then discharges Melnick as his rep. That's their agreement. I can't do nothing about that. Then Miss Love has an opinion. Y'all, this I'm trying to censor myself. I'm trying to keep the language to a minimum, y'all. This bitch has a whole opinion. You don't get to have an opinion, Miss Love, about what two other people agreed to. It's none of your mother trucking business. This bitch says, that sounds weird. That doesn't sound like something in Miss Copeland's best interest. If she was so interested in his best interest, do you think she would have put him in jail for the weekend? She would have called him to testify on a Friday and then sent him to jail for the entire weekend? If you talk, I can't, I ain't going to, I'm not going to represent you. I don't even know what to do with that. Well, you don't have to do anything with it, Miss Love. It's not yours. Okay, bitch? You have nothing to do with it. You can just go about your day. How does she have an opinion about the agreements between two grown adults? Okay, Ben Hand Motion, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Ashley Merchant said they should have recognized this as a noisy withdrawal by Melnick. Oh, this is definitely a withdrawal. This is... Y'all, like, when I read it the first time, I was like, ooh. But, like, reading this out loud with you, it is way worse. It is way worse than it was in my mind. Okay. D says the double dash notation is used in the examined transcript to indicate speaker restart, interruptions, parentheticals, and occasionally for depicting pause. That's what I figured. I figured it was like a total, like a pause, or she like loses her thought or something. All right. It doesn't matter what was said. Right. It doesn't matter. And he didn't ask us. He didn't even inquire. What have you all talked about? He has been talking to Brian Steele and Max Shart. That's it. He is not talking to us. Gee, I wonder why. Could it be that they're all criminal defense attorneys? Could it be that you're a monstrous bitch and nobody wants to talk with you? Could it be that we don't trust the state? Or maybe all of the above? It's like she's shocked that nobody wants to talk to you. You're the government, lady. Nobody should talk to you. If y'all are watching, stop talking to the government. Don't talk to the government unless you must. And I'm talking even about your school kids. I took my kids out of government school. I'm not going to let the government have control over my babies. In fact, when Mr. Copeland asks to speak with us, Mr. Melnick barges in and gets between Hilton and Copeland and literally keeps us from talking to him before he gets called to the stand. And that's troubling. How is that troubling? Okay. Bumpus. Well, I think what happened was, and I say this because I previously represented Mr. Copeland previously on his other stuff. So I know this is just what I think happened. I think how Attorney Melnick came involved was his representation of other, because he took my place. Copeland fired me and hired Melnick. And then this came about, and I think, so at the beginning, Melnick was representing him, and then, Miss Love interrupts, in his criminal matter that he had, but that's resolved. Bumpus says, when this case started, Melnick called me and told me he was representing him as a witness at the beginning. I can assert that. Love says, Melnick has never in life. Bumpus says, this is 2 years ago. Love says, first of all, how do you know what Melnick has never done in his life? Are you literally in his body? Are you his mother? Are you his wife? No, you're not. So you don't. I just can't. I cannot with the assertions Miss Love is making. Like she is these people. Well, Mr. Melnick has never in his life. Bitch, you don't know what he has never done in his life. You don't know him. You are not him. It's like sometimes people put words in my mouth or take words out of my mouth in the comments. Talk about, oh, you said that skin color doesn't look good in green. No, I said she doesn't look good in that green. All right. That's exactly what Miss Love is doing, and it is disgusting. It is annoying. And the government should refrain from putting words in people's mouths. This right here is why you need a lawyer. This right here is when anytime you are in any way going to be prosecuted, you need an attorney. Because bitches like Love will make shit up. Sorry, I'm on a tear today, y'all. I am on a tear. I appreciate you being here with me. Make sure you hit like and make sure you subscribe. I'm trying to get to the 6,000 subs by the end of Sunday. So if you could help, I would appreciate. Melnick didn't, as a matter of fact, less than 2 years ago when Copeland was sitting in jail for something else he had done, Melnick said, I don't represent him. He told me, I don't represent him. And people were in the room. He was on speaker. He told me he didn't represent him. That speaker bullshit pisses me off, too. That's exactly what the prosecutor did when I said I represented this young man who is a witness. She went and, got her boss and put me on speaker and then acted like I didn't know I was on speaker. Like I was born fucking yesterday and I don't know what the sound of speakerphone sounds like. Bitch, I know I'm on speaker. Love is doing the same thing. She's having people come in and listen to the conversation. She puts them on speaker trying to act like nobody's in there. It's just her. It's a private conversation, but in fact, she has you all on speaker. This is why you need a lawyer. This is why you do not talk to the government without a lawyer. People like Miss Love. And people like Miss Love exist in every county. Now, he ultimately did come about and represent him, but when we were trying to get, I guess, Bumpus says something, yeah, Copeland was like, hey, he's not my lawyer. I don't have a lawyer. He's not my lawyer. And then Bumpus says, are you talking about recently? So recently, Copeland said that Melnick was not his lawyer. Bumpus says, right. When Copeland was in jail, Melnick told me he wasn't his lawyer. But our understanding was Melnick was his lawyer for those criminal charges. And so the person that came in and argued, or at least stood in for him on his bond, and then his subsequent plea, was Melnick. But I don't know whose interest he would be representing when he's not talking to us about what we've spoken to Copeland about. He could ask us and we could tell him, you know, so I don't know why he would withdraw his representation of him. If his interest is in Kenneth Copeland, then why would you pull out? The court finally talks again. 2 pages later, the court says something. That doesn't make sense. You're right, it doesn't make sense, Judge Glanville, because she's talking in fucking circles. It doesn't make sense that she said she knew he was represented, but she asked him if he was represented. It doesn't make sense that she would contact a witness who she knew had a lawyer and not call the lawyer first and say, hey, are you representing him on this? And affirming with the attorney that he's in fact not. It doesn't make sense. You're right, Judge, it doesn't. At this point, where he would face the most peril, if that is his concern, if his concern is, I don't know what they talked about, so I don't know what, the court says, and I thought that Miss Hilton had a list of questions for Miss Copeland anyway. Love says she did. Well, how come y'all can't? He didn't ask to see those. He did not, and not only that, he shouldn't have to ask. If you know he represents the witness, email them to him. Like, why should Melnick have to come to you to get the information that you want his client to have? It's just ridiculous. Tall glass, it is making me sick. Getting so sick, y'all. Doing this for you. Okay. The court. Well, can't you all share that with Bumpus? Miss Love. Well, Miss Hilton has already shared it with Copeland and will certainly share it, generally speaking. Bumpus, can I read this email that Melnick sent me? I don't know if this will help you understand what he's saying. It says, hey Kayla, I wasn't able to see Kenneth today. He went on Saturday and tried to talk to him before his flight. But I have talked to his family, so at first Kenneth was going to testify, but has now decided to take his fifth. He may change his mind on Monday. If he does, then he's agreed to discharge me as his attorney. This isn't out of bad feelings, but I was not present when he met with the DA's office, so I cannot really help him with his testimony. This is what Melnick wrote Bumpus. And then he gave me the discharge and told me that if he decides to testify, then he's to sign this. I honestly don't know why we're even having this conversation. Why is this even going on? They're supposed to be talking about Copeland's safety, not what Melnick did for Copeland or what Melnick did or didn't do. This is a waste of our tax dollars. It's ridiculous. I wonder what time we're at. We'll see. In a minute, the court reporter will tell us the time. And that's just it. It's like you never know what someone's going to ask. And if he's concerned about putting him in legal jeopardy, then it would seem like he would remain and allow Mr. Copeland access to counsel when Mr. Copeland is concerned that he's about to walk into an area that puts him in legal jeopardy. But you can't switch how he gets called. So Bumpus is saying you can't just move him to like next week or something? Like when Melnick gets back from his vacation, you can't just switch that? Love says, see, that's not in Mr. Copeland's best interest. That's in the defendant's best interest. When you say switch in how he gets called, what does that have to do with anything? How is that in the I hate Miss Love. Bumpus says, I don't know. Maybe he's saying can't do it because he can't get his refundable ticket. That is not what he said in the email to you, and that is not what he relayed to the court. And his concerns have nothing to do with, the court says, he was very much... Bumpus cuts them both off and says, I tried to go back and watch as much as I could. The court says, telling me that he was going on vacation. And I said, well, you inserted yourself in this. I said, really, you do need to come on Monday. Love says, so he can't force Mr. Copeland to discharge him just because Copeland decides to testify. Now, as we're listening to this is now making so much more sense when Bumpus was trying to be released. And I'll link the video. We went over it. Bumpus was trying to be released, and the judge was like, no, you need to stay on. And it's not because of the show cause. It's because of this. This conversation is why the judge is wanting her to stay on. I think you are in until it's done. I mean, Bumpus goes, who, me? Like, what? No. I'm here for a morning, buddy. The court says, yeah, I mean, that's just, if he testifies, you got to kind of, Miss Love says, and frankly, Your Honor, I know that if a person faces criminal contempt, they are entitled to representation if they want it. This being civil contempt matter, court says not necessarily anybody who's facing contempt can get counsel. I mean, not anybody, but Miss Bumpus says, I can't stay. How long is this going to take? Love says, it might take some days. Might take some days. Okay, bitch. Love says, that's it. I think Miss Bumpus is put in a precarious position. She's not the one that stood up and injected herself into this. They reached out to her and she did him a favor. But ultimately, it seems as if Mr. Melnick is stalling and attempting to delay and hamper and hinder our proceedings. And that is a problem because that has nothing to do with the best interests of Kenneth Copeland, and that has nothing to do with Kenneth Copeland's exposure if he testifies. Just to answer the question about what he's exposed to, the statute is very, very clear. It literally says that no testimony or any evidence required under the court's order, or any information directly or indirectly derived from such testimony or evidence, shall be used against the person in any proceeding or prosecution for a crime or offense concerning which he is testified or produces evidence under the court order. That is saying, even if he got on the stand and said, well, she had to have been reading that. The court says he started talking about an unrelated crime, which is the biggest thing I think he's probably thinking about is that, yeah, there's a lot of stuff they could ask me about. Love says, right. Court says that is not known to a lot of people and that, he could also invoke his Fifth Amendment with the advice of counsel if it was some other particular crime. But Love says, the judge can't even take a breath, and then Miss Love's got to insert something. She's got to just talk. And you can just imagine this in the judge's chambers. Like, I can just imagine the scene in my brain. This is gonna make a great movie, y'all. Like, when they act this out, it is gonna be a great movie. Maybe I could be in it as like a YouTuber who covers it. Okay. But even that, we wouldn't even that, he'll still have to testify. Love says, literally, right. The saw lays, I think she means the law says. Yeah, I mean, anything he testifies to, we do this. Bumpus says, okay, then about the delay or stall, isn't it true, or is it not true, that he had a leave filed since December? Love says, we have nothing to do with any of that. He injected himself into this. What? No. If Melnick had a leave in this trial, a vacation letter, then Love knows he is not allowed, his client can't be called during this time. But Love is just completely predicating this whole thing on the fact that she does not believe Melnick was Woody's lawyer. Yeah, see, the problem is he stepped in. That when you get involved, I don't know you have a leave. Miss Love, right, and unless you filed leave into this case, you don't have a leave for my case. Right. Okay, and he did not. So I didn't have one. Oh, okay, so he didn't file into this case. He just filed it into his own cases. I file my vacation letter on any case that I'm on. Mr. Copeland has been a witness and named on the witness list since. So since he said, well, I'll represent him, I'm like, okay, well, you don't have a leave that's filed in our case. Okay. So he did this to himself and did it to you. But we have to, that is just where it is. And I don't know that. That's just where we are. Bumpus says, so, Judge, are you going to make me stay if he chooses to testify? The court says, I am, because you're his lawyer. You're a stand-in lawyer at this point. Your Honor, I don't have a problem with that. I'm not ready. Miss Love says, the court says there's nothing for you to be ready about. Okay. You don't get to tell me whether or not I need to be ready about my client. It's my client. I have to zealously advocate. I do need to be ready. I have a right to be ready, Judge. I mean, here's the thing. The only thing you've got to kind of ask him about is, look, here's the question the state is going to ask you, all right? Is there anything else that could hurt you that they might ask you about? And as long as you have knowledge of that, then I think you're fine, because the state's only going to get into this. Now, the reason you want to know what's going to hurt you is the defendants know more about Kenneth Copeland than anybody else. So they're probably going to kind of, Bumpus says, what about if I say I can't do it? Then Melnick needs to come back, right? Am I going to be in trouble? Because I was only for Monday. That's what I was told. I was given specific, love cuts her off. If Copeland said, I don't know what Mr. Copeland wants, it's his choice. Can't he say he doesn't want Melnick? He can say whatever he wants. It's his choice. But, like, why is Miss Love answering this question? This is a question for the judge. Bumpus, but the judge is saying, like, Love is talking on behalf of the judge right now. If I were the judge, I would stop her. You don't get to talk on my behalf. Like, I don't know if you noticed in this live just today. I will not be having other people do or say on my behalf. I am a grown woman. I pay my own bills. Hey, Julie, welcome. Welcome to the chat. This pale pink happens to be an OG Cadillac original. We will be getting merch, y'all. We'll be getting merch, and you'll be able to buy stuff like this. It's going to be awesome. Okay, Love says, I don't think he can be forced to have representation if he doesn't want, need, or says he wants it, because we have offered. We've done everything to clear him of judicial exposure. He's not, there's nothing he can say. He could lie. That puts him in, peril. But, he can't talk about a crime that we could prosecute him for that's involving this or some other place. Right. Bumpus says, I understand that, but Love says, and we can't use his testimony to go find evidence to prosecute him for the stuff he talks about. Basically, he's literally shielded. Basically, he is literally shielded. Basically. Bumpus says, I would have to agree with you that I don't think that that's the concern. Isn't that what you said? Well, the court said that. Bumpus said, no. I'm saying with Mr. Copeland not testifying. You said you don't think that's his concern is criminal's exposure. Or do you think that's what he's worried about? The court says, do you think he's fearful of testifying for other reasons, like his personal safety? Came up 18 pages ago. They were talking about his personal safety, and then it just goes by the wayside because Ms. Love is so focused on the actions of her peers. There is a crazy judge in the district court in Dallas County who was a municipal court judge before she was a Dallas County district court judge, and she actually went through the desk drawers of the other municipal court judges when she was there. The desk drawers, she went through the drawers of other judges. That's the kind of shit Miss Love does. Why are you so concerned about other people? Why are you so concerned about the actions of other people and other people you don't live with? This is not her husband. Why does she care? Court finally says, do you think he's fearful for his personal safety? Bumpus says, right. Love says, that's what Mr. Melnick said to me in an email I can pull up. He said, Bumpus says, but you don't believe it. Love says, you are going to get him killed. That's what he said. We ain't going to kill him. Bumpus says, see, I don't know anything about that email. Miss Love says, we ain't going to kill him. I could show you the email, but we're not going to kill Kenneth Copeland. Who is he talking about? What are you trying to do? The court says, this is a collateral second and third order effect. Let's pray it doesn't happen. But Miss Love says, obviously the court says first he has to give testimony, though. That's what he has to do. He's got to give the testimony, whatever it is, good, bad, or indifferent. Good, bad, or indifferent, I should say. Why did he say it twice? Good, bad, or indifferent. Good, bad, or indifferent, I should say. I don't understand that. Y'all make sure you hit like, please. Make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't already. Appreciate it. Glad you're here. As my son says. He won't say appreciate. All right, Miss Love. So we would like, with the court's permission, they haven't brought him over, and he was supposed to be the first one up, so I guess they went to get him. They might be over there with him now. Court says, is he here now? Miss Love says, I don't know. Glanville exits chambers at 9:33. Okay. So they started at 9:10, and what I just read to you took 23 minutes. So 23 minutes of our tax dollars were just completely wasted. Miss Love says, we'd like to go into another courtroom and talk to him, give you a chance to talk to him, and then an opportunity to explain to him. The court reporter says, we're off the record. So, Miss Love is in the middle of talking to Bumpus about what she wants from Bumpus, and the court reporter goes off the record. What do you think was said while that court reporter was off the record? We'd like to go into another courtroom and talk to him, give you a chance to talk to him, and then give you an opportunity to explain to him what? Glanville is gone for an entire minute. That was probably 10 seconds of speech. So you have 50 seconds. Miss Love is yapping her big mouth. And who knows? Who knows what the F she says back? All right, at 9:34, they come back with Woody. No, Mr. Chamberlain. I don't know who Mr. Chamberlain is. All right, Miss Love says, Miss Hilton has been communicating with him, and I'd like to grab her from downstairs and have her up. The court says, where is Mr. Copeland? Mr. Chamberlain says they took him upstairs to the tank in 9. The court says, okay, can we bring him out can we? Chamberlain says, your chambers is being used. Your courtroom is being used. The judge says, let's bring him in here. Chamberlain says, all right, let me see if I can get that done. The court says, let's bring him in here. Okay, thank you. We'll bring him in here. And then they recess from 9:34 to 10:03. So they have an entire 30 minutes it takes them to go get Woody. An entire 30 minutes to go get Miss Love and Woody. Miss Hilton. Saint Nikki Hilton, patron saint of courtroom patience. Okay. TC Pro Academy. Miss Love is comfortable speaking this way in front of the court because she was a judge and she runs this judge's courtroom. This judge allows her to. He's never ever stopped her. He's never challenged her in the least bit. So, no, Woody was not in jail. He was in the tank upstairs on the 9th floor. Mr. Chamberlain said that right here. They took him upstairs to the tank in 9. So they're holding him in a jail cell on the 9th floor. All right. Mr. Copeland entered chambers at 10:03 a.m. So remember, they had a 9:10 start. They talk for 23 minutes. Then they decide to get Copeland and Hilton. They have a 30-minute break, and they come back with Copeland. Also present is Glanville, Simone Hilton, a.k.a. Nikki Hilton, Bumpus, court reporter, the 2 investigators, Deputy Houston and Deputy McPherson, Sergeant Brown, and Sergeant Hall. So now we have like 11 people, right? Now, mind you, who is gone? Who is not there anymore? Miss Love. Because Woody does not like Miss Love. So she leaves. She leaves. Yeah, the defense is now just sitting over in that courtroom, which is being used. Well, they're sitting there waiting to go because they were told to be there at 8:30 that day. Okay, so now the court, dear sweet-ass time is taken. They're back on the record. Mr. Copeland says, can you let him know I got a hearing problem? Bumpus says, okay. He said he can. He's hard of hearing. So, he got... Woody's like, tells his lawyer, can you tell the judge I can't hear? The judge is sitting right the fuck in front of him. The judge can hear him, right? She's like, okay. I cannot wait for the movie to come out, y'all. Oh my God, I cannot wait for the movie. The court says that makes 2 of us. I've got a hearing aid that's coming this 27th of June. So I'll try and talk loud. Is it okay if I... Copeland says, yeah, I can read lips. The court says, okay, good, Mr. Copeland. Good morning. All right, so the judge just got a hearing aid, y'all. He got it last week on the 27th. I hope it's working for him. Maybe he can better hear the bullshit objections of Miss Love as we move forward. Okay, good morning, Mr. Copeland. Good morning. All right, I just wanted to bring you over and let you talk with Miss Bumpus and see if there's anything that you need to ask of your counsel or Miss Hilton or the state or the court before we bring you out this morning, because we would like to hear your testimony. And that's kind of where we are at this point in time. So is there anything you would like to ask? What? Why are they having this meeting? Like, why is this a thing? Like, what is he even, why are you, just give Copeland some time with his lawyer. Okay. Copeland says, well, I want to speak to you personally that I have never been truthful a day in my life until I just made this statement right now. I don't comprehend none of the stuff that's going on. Woody is so funny, y'all. Woody is so bright. We're going to get in the transcript and I'm going to tell you where I see, I'm like, oh shit, Woody is smart as hell. Okay. He is so funny. I'm never truthful, except when I tell you I'm untruthful. That's great. Eva's joining us from vacation. Thank you. I'm so glad that you're here at the live. Okay. Nobody should be talking to the judge without a lawyer present. Nobody should be talking, no prosecutor without an attorney present. Hello. Okay, so the judge says, okay, well, the thing is you can give, the only thing you can give is truthful testimony. I mean, whatever you know is whatever you know. I mean, that's it. Hilton now pipes in. Now, y'all, I have been having a favorable opinion of Hilton until Woody took the stand. And now seeing this transcript, somebody has got to send this to the Georgia State Bar. Somebody has got to send this transcript to the Georgia State Bar, because Ms. Hilton is about to admit some serious wrongdoing, some serious bar violations. What we'll say, and Mr. Copeland and I, we've talked about this. Right there. When the fuck were you talking to Copeland? He had a lawyer. Why are you talking to him? I'm not sure what your concerns are, what concerns that you expressed to Mr. Milnick last week. But if any of your concerns deal with being locked up for anything, you can't. Like, there's nothing that can happen. The feds, Bumpus says, well, that's not, Hilton says it is true. Bumpus says, no. I said, that's not his concern. Yeah, bitch, if you didn't cut me off, you would know I'm about to say that's not his concern. If that's his concern, we should not be having this ex parte conversation. If his concern is his safety, then this conversation might be okay. If his concern is safety, we need to know that. Like, that's not expressed, so we don't know what the concern is, so that we can try to resolve the concern. This is what I'm saying. Mr. Copeland and I have had conversations before. I understand some of his concerns is potential criminal liability, hence why we gave you immunity. The federal statute of limitations, done. The statute of limitations, done. Then why the fuck are we in this courtroom? She brought it up. The statute of limitations is over. We've been talking about crimes from over a decade ago. We've been talking about crimes from 2013. And she's telling him, you don't have to worry about the feds. They can't come after you. The statute of limitations is passed. Then why is the Georgia state government coming after these men? Why is the state of Georgia above the statute of limitations? Pisses me off. So there's nothing. Like, I researched this weekend again, but both those statute of limitations for what you and I talked about, which is in 2015 or before, done. You cannot be prosecuted for anything you testify federally or statewide. Immune, period. She should not be talking that way to him. You cannot make guarantees. As an attorney, our favorite term in the world is it depends. Because we don't make no guarantees. So the fact that she's saying immune, period, that is a problem. That is problematic. I never tell anyone, period. What are my chances in court? 50-50, us against them. Period. That's the only period you get. So if that is the concern, there's none, because you cannot be prosecuted. The federal statute of limitations is 5 years. So anything in 2015, 5 years would have been 2020. Anything statewide is 4 years, would have been 2019. Finished. Next concern, what may happen in the street? You know what we've talked about, what we can do as far as living and all of that. We have had those conversations. So I'm trying to express to you that we do not want you locked up. I don't know how many times I have to tell you that. What I've got to say to you, we do not want you sitting back in DeKalb, or wherever they got you because of this. I know you wanted to talk to me Friday before you walked into court. We weren't able to talk. If you still want to talk with me, with or without Miss Bumpus, I'm here, but we do not want you in custody. That is a violation of the bar rules. He has an attorney present, and she is offering to speak to him without his attorney there. Prima facie, that means on its face. Prima facie evidence that she violated the bar rules. Right there. Right there, y'all. Right there. You will not. This order, I don't know if you kept your copy of the order, but this order says you're immune from prosecution, any of it. Literally, judge, you might want to close your ears. But if you confess to murder on the stand, if we don't have any other impendent evidence outside of what you say on the stand, you're immune from prosecution from what you say in court. That is not immunity. If we don't have any other independent evidence outside of what you say on the stand, you are immune. So I'm not immune. Because if you start with a if this, then this, that's not immunity, period. That's not immunity, period. That's immunity so long as no other shit lines up anywhere else. That is not immunity, period. She contradicts herself from one sentence to another. And she expects Woody to trust her? So again, I don't know what was communicated to you on Friday. I have no idea. But what the state has assured you, which I have assured you in our private conversations with Mr. Long, as I'm saying in front of Ms. Bumpus, as I told you, that is what this order says. So she admits right here she had a private conversation there with him. And that is direct or cross-examination, says the court, and Hilton says that's direct or cross. The court says, so if you're worried about what the defendants may ask you because they know your business, but if they ask you about things that you might think you have some liability, you can't be prosecuted for any of those. Copeland says, I got family members watching this trial, and I don't want my nephew and them to hear the things that I may be involved in and think it's okay. Hilton says, but I think that's a separate conversation you can have with them as an honest individual, like, look, nephews, I done lived the life, and I don't want you to live it. Don't go through what I've been through. But that's something you can have outside of being in jail, because that's a better conversation you can have with your nephews in person. But they shouldn't have to come to the DeKalb County Jail because you are being held in contempt. You can have that conversation with your nephews tomorrow in person. You can have that conversation with them. You can have that conversation with anybody. You know what's coming up this weekend? Why we are in jail? What are we doing? Copeland said, but y'all did this intentionally. No, we didn't. You and I had this conversation, Mr. Copeland, on Friday morning. Copeland says, but you knew my child's birthday was next week. Hilton says, but what did I tell you when we met with each other? I said to you, you asked me, what is the one thing that's going to get me in jail? Didn't you ask me that? And what was my response? If you plead the fifth. And that is exactly what you did on the stand. Copeland says, but what I did tell you before, what did I tell you before that point? I told you the whole time Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Hilton says, but we were giving you immunity. Copeland says that I was pleading the fifth. So he's in the middle of saying, I've been telling you for days I was pleading the fifth. And she says, but we're giving you immunity. Hilton says, no, you do not. Copeland says, I told you every day I was pleading the fifth. Hilton says, no, you do not. And we told you. Copeland said, I told my concern. And we said we could give you immunity. You said your concern is what they know about you. And when you said that, I said, well, you know stuff about them. And then I said, whatever your concerns are, we can give you immunity. Copeland says, so I didn't tell you I lied to them to get myself out of the situation? Hilton says, you said you're a liar. That's what you said. You said you're a liar. Bumpus says, was this recorded? Hilton says, no. Did he ever say that Melnick was his attorney? Hilton says, no. This week, when we first met you in the car on Friday, we asked you, is Mr. Melnick your attorney? And you said, he is not my attorney. I haven't even talked to him. You should not be asking Copeland if Melnick is his attorney. You should be asking Melnick if Melnick is Copeland's attorney. Because if Copeland is at all being represented by an attorney, you should not at all be speaking to him. Thank you, everyone who's here. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, all the good stuff. You said here, okay, Copeland says, no, I never said he's not my attorney. I said I haven't talked to him. And this is the thing, I believe Copeland, because Copeland is a sneaky liar. He is a sneaky, if there's one thing we know about him, he's a sneaky liar. Hilton said, you said he's not his attorney, your attorney, you haven't talked to him. Then we continue to have a conversation. At no point did you ever say to us, hey, I want Melnick here. Hey, put Melnick on the phone. Copeland said, you didn't make me feel like I needed him. Hilton says, but if you needed him, we would have said, if you would have needed Mr. Melnick, we would have said to you, okay, just call him. So, I mean, that's our position. We don't want you in jail. We want you to be able to purge yourself by testifying. Whatever your truth is, what your truth is, but you've just got to answer the questions. We believe that whatever your truth is what your truth is. Your truth, not the truth. She's not talking about the truth. She's talking about your truth, not the truth. The truth is the truth, St. Nikki Hilton. The truth is the truth. She's over here talking about your truth, which means she knows he's gonna lie on the stand, which is a clear violation of the bar ethics rules. Y'all should send this in. We just gotta send this into the bar. Prima facie evidence that the bar rules have been broken. I don't know what you're going to say on the stand, but what we know is pleading the fifth is going to keep you in custody, which is bullshit. You are not to be sent in jail because the whole Fifth Amendment does not. And it makes me so mad that they just give him this immunity so they can circumvent the Fifth Amendment, so they can force him to testify and they can put him in jail if he doesn't. Our founding fathers who declared independence 248 years ago yesterday did not intend for you to give immunity to skirt the Fifth Amendment. They didn't. They didn't send that letter to England that said, yo, we're on our own now. They didn't do that so that you could just trample over all these little amendments they wrote. No. And we haven't, for 248 years since that day, sent men and women to war to defend the Constitution so that you could pull this bullshit. Oh, it makes me so mad, y'all. I'm on a tear today. Let's say a little moment. I'm Lauren Cadillac. I'm an attorney in Dallas, Texas. I do civil litigation. I'm a real estate attorney, so I do a lot of litigation, courtroom attorney. I am not a criminal defense attorney. I started watching this Young Thug case because I found the First Amendment issues to be quite interesting. And I have been streaming it every day they've been in court since. Every Friday we stream at 10 a.m. Thank you for being here. Make sure you hit like. Make sure you hit subscribe. Thank you to everyone who sent a super chat. Thank you to everyone who sent a Cash App. And thank you to all of you who are my members. I appreciate you all very much. Let's get back into this. All right. St. Nikki Hilton's still talking. I know what you said before, and I know what you said later. I mean, I know what you said before, and I don't know what you were going to say on the stand because you and I never went into full details about any of it. But I don't want is for you to be sitting here in custody. Copeland says, you did it. I love this guy. I just love Copeland. Hilton says, I did not do it. You did it by pleading the fifth. Copeland says, you told me before you went to the judge with whatever thing you called you went with him to him with, you told me that I can't. When I'm asked a question, I can say I don't recall or I don't know. You told me that if I plead the fifth, I mean something, why would I plead the fifth to something I ain't do? And I said that you don't know what I did and what I ain't do, and then you was like something. And then y'all asked for this immunity, and I was like, it was something. And then Thursday or Friday came, and then y'all go to tell me, oh, we went to the judge with this, so you got to testify. Even if you don't testify, the judge gonna lock you up. How is that not coercion? How is that not coercion? And absolutely, my founding fathers, the founding fathers, our founding fathers, everyone who here is an American citizen, whether you were born here or you arrived here, if you are a citizen of this great country, this is not what was intended for us. This is not what we were promised. Hilton, right, but that was based upon what you, Copeland, but I told y'all that. Hilton, no you didn't. Copeland, you said, why would I plead the fifth to something I didn't do? And I said, you don't know what happened. Hilton said, Hilton says, and I said, I don't know what happened. Only you and them know. I said, but you never said I'm pleading the fifth. You said, what if I do this? What if I do this? What if I do this? Copeland, I told you. I said, I'm going to plead the, you said, why would you plead the fifth to something that you know you didn't do? Bumpus interjects. So if you didn't have immunity prior to, is that when what you are saying, what you feel like he didn't have immunity prior to? Copeland, immunity came Friday, right when I went to jail. Hilton, the immunity only came after Mr. Melnick. Bumpus says, hold on. Hilton says the immunity came after Milnick sent us an email saying, my client is pleading the fifth. That was Thursday at 6 p.m. So you knew that that was his fucking lawyer on Friday when you got him out of the car. That's line 17, page 31. We're going to go right back up here. Where did she say it? Come on, baby. Where is it? Oh, we're not going to allow Lauren to search because she didn't. Do you remember in the trial when the judge asked he asked if the dude had searched the file and he said no? All right, sorry. I'm going to get to the Hilton part. Let me, you guys just look at my face while I do that. Hilton straight up came in and said, oh, well, we talked to you on Friday, and I asked you if Melnick was your lawyer, and you said no. But then just said right now she got an email at 6 p.m. talking about Melnick is, my client is going to plead the fifth. So which is it, bitch? Were you lying then or are you lying now? Were you lying then or are you lying now? Go to my impeachment. Oh, it's one of my favorite questions. One of my favorite questions. Okay, right here. Oh, no. No, hold on. I lost it. I still haven't found it. Still haven't found what I'm looking for. Y'all, this is some dirty shit they did. This is some dirty shit they did. Oh, here we go. Right here. Here we go. This week, on our line, we just saw that there was an email at 6 p.m. on Thursday from Melnick saying, my client is not going to testify Friday. He's going to plead the fifth on Friday. Here we are, page 28, line 22. This week, when we first met you in the car on Friday, we asked you, is Mr. Melnick your attorney? You said he is not my attorney. I haven't even talked to him. I've not even talked to him. So you did know that he had a lawyer on Friday because you got the Thursday email and that led to the immunity? So you did. 6 p.m. email on her. I mean, I don't know about y'all. Last time I checked, Thursday is the day before Friday. So on 6 p.m. on Thursday, Melnick says, my client is pleading the fifth. And then all of a sudden in the morning on Friday, when my client's getting out of the car, you're asking him if I'm his attorney. Thursday comes before Friday. Yeah, Thursday comes before Friday. Huh. Bumpus says, so you're pretty much saying you didn't ask for this. And Copeland says, I didn't. And Hilton says, I gave it. He doesn't have to ask for it. And Bumpus says, I know, but he's saying, and Hilton says, right, he doesn't have to ask for it, but to alleviate his concerns, we gave him immunity. He didn't have to ask for it. Bumpus, so if he wouldn't have had this, I'm just saying so he can understand, I'm walking him through. Hilton, Would he still have to testify, or would he have been able to plead the fifth? That's what he's saying. Hilton asks if he did not have immunity. Bumpus says yes. Hilton says yes, he could plead the fifth. Copeland says Bumpus says that's what he's trying to say. He's trying to say he didn't ask for this. He wanted to plead the fifth. He wanted to assert his constitutional rights, and y'all forced him into testifying by giving him immunity he didn't even ask for. Hilton says he doesn't have to ask for it. Now, what we have given it to him because it's on us. So now that we've given to him, it's an order. He can still choose if this is the road he wants to take, then he'll just stay in the custody in the trials until the trial's over. And when we say the trial's over, every last defendant has been tried, not just these 6 or other ones too. Tell me that is not coercion. Tell me how. Somebody please explain to me how that is not coercion. Copeland just straight up, I done longer time. Challenge accepted, bitch. Hilton says, all right, Mr. Copeland, I'm telling you that you are literally immune for prosecution from anything else you may say. That's it. So the choice is always up to you, but we wanted to put on the record the state does not want you in custody. The state would like for you to do is purge yourself. Copeland says, what's purge yourself mean? Copeland already knows. He's just a mad shit talker, and I kind of like him. I kind of like him for it. Hilton, meaning you are no longer in custody, and the way you purge yourself is to testify. That is kind of how it happens, and that is what the state wants you to do. We don't want you in custody. I can't say that any other way, but we don't want you in custody. The only thing is that's holding you here is you refusing to testify. So the court comes in finally. Again, it's been like 4 pages. The court hasn't said shit. So do you have any questions or any other questions? Basically, if you invoke the fifth, Copeland says, I don't trust. I don't know what's going on. I don't trust nobody. I don't trust her words, but I don't know what's going on, Your Honor. Hilton says, this is your insurance. I don't know if you want to break that down to him. Bumpus says, well, he doesn't want that. Court says, but he's been given it. See, that's the challenge, Copeland, is that they didn't give you the immunity. You could invoke your Fifth Amendment. But what the state decided is to completely circumvent your Fifth Amendment right and to say your testimony is worth more to them at this point in time, and they really want to know what you have to say. So they made from the state's perspective, they made a decision to give you immunity. So you can no longer invoke your Fifth Amendment privilege. You have to testify. My grandfather and my great-grandfather had a Purple Heart. He got a Purple Heart from his actions in World War II. My great-grandfather, we called him Dodo. He is literally rolling over in his grave as I read this out loud. He follows me spiritually. He's my grandpa Dodo, and he is pissed. He wants his America back. He wants the America where the Fifth Amendment means something. My grandpa also served this country. Finally died of like his 5th heart attack. He would also be lit about this. This is ridiculous. This makes me sick. And I bet that it's perfectly legal in Georgia. I bet that they use this shit all the time in Georgia. Georgia's gross to me. This is disgusting. All right, this is still the court. So that's the difference in this particular ceremony. They taken away. Well, you could still invoke your Fifth Amendment. You could still do that, but the consequence of invoking is that you will remain in custody. So if you testify, you get out of custody, and you stay out of custody, then you're done. And if I don't testify, I have to stay in jail till when? The court says until the trial over. Until all the defendants have been. I've got these 6 that we have right now, and then there's another 6. Ms. Hilton says, no, there's another 12. The court says there's another 12 or thereabouts that are still outstanding in various forms or another. Copeland says, may I speak with her for a second? The court says, yeah, sure. Glanville, ADA Simone Hilton, court reporter, and investigators leave the chambers at 10:17. So that was 14 minutes. Leave at 10:17. So 14 minutes. Nobody has talked about his safety. We're all just still talking about the stolen Fifth Amendment. That's what I'm going to call it. You all can call it immunity. But I'm going to call it the stolen Fifth Amendment. Ridiculous. Okay. Returns at 10:33 a.m. Copeland says, my question is, I can't ask you a question. The court says yes. So my question is, so what I was just asking her is, or was, if you ask me a question and you feel as in I was lying about it, will you lock me back up? Hilton, no. If you, so you're saying that, you say, I didn't talk to Demekion. Well, no, I can't talk about that because the judge is in here. What? Oh, I guess she was about to get into, like, testimony, so she can't talk about that. Like, you know, like, you are asking, for example, if you said before that the sky was blue, and I asked you on the stand, what color is the sky? And you said, I said it was red. I'm going to say, no, back before you said it was blue. Is that what you're trying to ask me? Bumpus says, uh-huh. So explain the independent evidence. If he says he did something and you know he's not telling the truth, what happens? If he said he did something and he did not do that thing, Bumpus says, if you believe he did not, so if you believe that he's lying about it. Hilton said, then no. If he admits to doing something on the stand, Bumpus says, uh-huh. Hilton says, and he did not do that thing. Bumpus says, uh-huh. Hilton says, I'm going to say, is this the first time you're saying that? Bumpus says, and you have independent evidence to prove it wasn't him, then what? Hilton says, then nothing. What do you mean, like? So then he will be fine? Yes, but so you're okay with him if he got on the stand and said things that weren't true? Hilton says, no, I want him to tell the truth. What have I always said to you? I want you to tell the truth. I don't know what's going to come out of your mouth. I expect you to tell the truth. If you say something that's inconsistent with what you said before, then I'm going to ask about the inconsistencies, but I expect you to tell the truth. What you go on the stand and do, I don't know. I don't know what you're going to do. I want you to tell the truth, but I will deal with you, not you saying something different in the manner that I normally do. What? This is so circular, y'all. I don't understand. She really is like a little clone of Miss Love. I really have lost all faith in St. Nikki Hilton. I'm not going to take away her sainthood because she has yet to hit Miss Love, and that is how she got crowned saint. But I am not pleased. I'm not pleased with these government actors. If I'm saying something different, right? So when the police question me, they done question me every time they lock me up. I don't know how many times that was. I done told them whatever different story I could think of to try to finesse my way out of the situation. I don't recall what I done told them. Okay, so you can say, I don't recall. That is how that works. I don't recall. Bumpus says, and he could say that to every single question? Hilton says, I would hope that's not the truth, because I think there are some things you do recall and some things you don't. But the things you don't recall, and then I will go through my process of what I do. You can talk to him about what impeachment is. That won't get you locked up. Impeachment will not get you locked up. You can talk to him about what impeachment is if he says, I don't recall. Copeland says, what will get me locked up? Like, that's all Copeland gives a shit about. He doesn't want to die, and he don't want to go to jail. He just wants to live and not in jail, okay? And I don't blame the man at all. What did I tell you? Hilton says. I hate how she's talking to him like a child. Well, what did I tell you? What have we discussed? What did I tell you? Well, bitch, if he remembered what you told him, he probably wouldn't ask. He says, I don't know. What you did on Friday, I plead the 5th, if the court instructs you. Copeland. So the only thing that gets me locked up is pleading the 5th. Bumpus. Yes. Hilton. The court instructs you. You need to answer the question. You say again, I plead the 5th. Again, that's what's going to get you locked up. But if you answer the question, that will not get you locked up. Copeland. So if you don't want me in jail, why you just don't let me go after the trial over with? What a great question. See, this is how I know Copeland. This is one of the pieces of evidence that show me that Copeland is really actually quite intelligent. So if you don't want me in jail, then why don't you just let me go when the trial's over with? That is a completely logical question. If A plus B equals C, then C minus B must equal A. Hilton says, you're in jail because you're not answering the questions. The court says, because you've been given immunity. Hilton says, because you've given immunity, you're only in jail because you got up here. Copeland said, well, what about this? I answer the questions, you take away immunity, I answer the questions, and I plead the fifth. Hilton says, no. Copeland says, to questions that I feel incriminate me. Hilton says, but then that's... Copeland says, I won't plead the fifth to things that don't incriminate me. I don't know how he knows what will and will not incriminate him. I don't think he's like a essay of the law. I don't think he's like a law encyclopedia. The court says the state can still give you immunity. They can give immunity to whoever they want, okay? And they can make that choice. So I don't even make that choice. So if they, like I said earlier, they want your testimony, they figure it's that the jury needs to hear that you have said what you have to say, good, bad, or indifferent. And what Ms. Hilton is telling you is just tell the truth as you know it and let her worry about, even though you may have said different versions of whatever, that's for impeachment. That's not going to get you in trouble. What will get you in trouble is it is you invoking your Fifth Amendment privilege because you've been given immunity. Or as Ms. Love said this morning, remember? Ms. Love said if you overtly lie about something, like if you tell a bold-faced whopper, then they can indict you on that particular charge. That particular false statement. So now you can be prosecuted for lying? Copeland says, that's what they're going to do. Bumpus says, that is what I was saying. You will be right back here. Bumpus has already had this damn conversation with him. Ridiculous. Hilton says, but if you say something that you know you did not do, like you admit to something you know you did not do, whether you... Copeland cuts him off. Like murder. Murder don't have, no statute of limitations, right? Hilton says, but if you didn't do it, I can't charge you with something you didn't do because I don't have any other evidence but you saying it. Copeland says, but y'all don't Bumpus cuts him off, says you can charge him with false statements and he'll be back in jail. That is what I was trying to say. Hilton says, but if I know you are lying about that, I do not intend to do that. Hilton said that in front of the judge. Hilton said that in front of the judge. If I know right now he's lying, I know he's lying. I'm not going to charge you because I don't know your reason for doing that. But I'm not going to charge you when I know you didn't do what you're trying to say you did now. And that can be part of this. I know you didn't do it. I feel like this is the part where Copeland is alluding, he alludes to Nut murder, but he never says he murdered Nut, so I don't know. Copeland says, but it's up to the judge to do that. Hilton says, no, it's up to the state to bring charges. Judge says, I don't have anything to do with that. Hilton says he has nothing to do with bringing charges. That's up to the state of Georgia. Copeland says, can I talk to my family and I'll make my decision after I hang up the phone? Bumpus says he's saying he hasn't been able to speak to anyone. Hilton says, his sister just called us. Copeland says, y'all done me wrong. Y'all just holding me in the jail. Don't let me get no PIN number, no nothing. Hilton says, we have no knowledge. We did not know that you. Bumpus says he hasn't been able to do anything or speak to anyone. The jail system down, but y'all still putting people in. See, Copeland is intelligent. The jail system down, but y'all still putting in. Hilton says, that part I don't know. I know we've been in communication with your sister. Your sister texted Miss Ling, whatever, to make sure you're okay. We told her we physically had laid eyes on you. I'll leave that up to the sheriffs. I don't know. Copeland says, so what you think what she's saying? Hilton says, I can tell you right now. Copeland says, I'm talking about that locking me back up. Hilton said, we would have to bring charges. There would be no incentive. Copeland says, y'all will. Hilton says, we've already had this discussion. Copeland says, look what you did to me. You waited until Friday and did this. I done told you every day before Friday came that I was pleading the fifth. Bro sees their timing. Remember I said they did this on a Friday. They called him on a Friday. They knew Homeboy was going on vacation. They knew Milnick was going on vacation. They call Copeland on Friday. They know Copeland's going to take the 5th. They give him immunity without even fucking talking to him or telling anybody. And then they lock him in jail for the weekend. Tell me that's not witness intimidation. If this was the mafia and they were locking someone in a cell and kidnapping them for the weekend, how would that not be witness intimidation? Oh, because it's the government, so it's acceptable? Bro. Hilton says, no, you did not. As a matter of fact, our last. The court says, Mr. Copeland, let's see if we can go beyond this, okay? Beyond what your concern is. You could have invoked the 5th Amendment. The state could have turned around and said, stop, had me go ahead, filed that motion, and given you immunity. It was going to, they make that decision. They decided to make it on Friday. So even if you would have been more comfortable testifying, invoking your 5th Amendment privilege, they could decide, you as a witness, they want your testimony more than they do you invoking your 5th Amendment privilege, so they gave you immunity. They gave you immunity, so you got to testify truthfully as to what your knowledge of the particular incident is. So if they were going to, they could have done that anyway. Even if they put you on the stand, they could have said stop and gone ahead and given you immunity. They could have done that. Copeland said, so can I get in some type of writing that if I was to testify that if she feels as in I lied about anything, they won't lock me back up? Let me have that, Miss Bumpus. Bumpus hands a document to the court. There's a pause. Court says, Mr. Copeland, on page 2 of the order, pursuant to OCGA 24-5-507, however, no testimony given by Kenneth Copeland as required under this order or any information directly or indirectly derived from testimony of Kenneth Copeland given by Kenneth Copeland as required under this order shall be used against said Kenneth Copeland in any proceeding or prosecution for a crime or offense concerning which he testifies under this order. Okay, so you testify about some aggravated assault or murder. They can't prosecute you on it because that is what it says on the order. Okay, the only thing is that will get you in trouble is this next little paragraph. Kenneth Copeland shall be subject to prosecution or to penalty or forfeiture for any perjury, false swearing, or contempt committed in testifying or failing to testify in accordance with this order. So he's not immune, period. It's not immune, period. It's immune as long as you tell what we believe is the truth. However, it's ordered that Kenneth Copeland shall not be required to produce evidence that can be used in any other court in the state, the United States, or any other state. So basically, if you commit perjury, false swearing, or contempt committed in testifying, that means you just invoked your 5th Amendment privilege, or failing to testify, you say, I'm not going to testify. All right. So the only 2 real things you can do to get in trouble for are perjury and false swearing, as long as you tell the truth. So, as Ms. Hilton and Ms. Bumpus said earlier, you may have told or been asked about situations over and over. They may have changed. What the state is asking you to do is tell the version that is really the truth. If they want to impeach you, they can do that, or if other sides want to impeach you, they can do that. You won't get in trouble for that. Copeland said, you said I will. The court said, you will not. Impeachment is not perjury or false swearing, okay? Copeland said, but she said, I can purge myself, though. See, I love this. This is where Copeland is playing dumb. Oh, but she said I could purge myself. Hilton says, no, we're saying 2 different things. Sorry, perjury is if you get on the stand and just say a bold-faced lie, something that's wrong. Say you say, I did something, and all the other times you said I did not do it. And really, while it's perjury, it's really just inconsistent statements. Like if you get on the stand and said, I did X, but in 2015 you said I never did X, that's what I'm going to impeach. I'm going to impeach you on everything you said in 2015, meaning I'm going to say, okay, today you said I did X, but in 2015. Lieutenant Dean answers the chambers. We have a security issue. We need to stop for a minute. If we can stop for a second, please. Okay, now it's 10:45. Remember, they started at 10:33 again, all right? So 10:45, stop for security. 10:45 a.m. Remember, the jury is sitting there waiting. The defense is sitting in the courtroom waiting. Everyone is waiting. 10:47, they resume. Hilton says, oh, by the way, that whole 2 minutes that the judge is out of chambers, Hilton could easily be talking, and they're just not on the record. We don't know what was said for an entire 2 minutes. Hilton says, I don't know what was told to you on Friday. I have no reason to want you in prison. You have spent enough time in prison for YSL, period. So why would I want it for you? That doesn't make no sense. I said it to you before, and I will say it to you again in front of all these people. It makes no sense. Copeland, you just said I'm going to have to stay in jail till the last. Hilton, if you don't testify, get this part through your head. If you don't testify, that is the only thing that is holding you. That is literally the only thing holding you right now is the fact you keep saying, I'm not going to testify. Well, you haven't said it today. I'm not testifying. I plead the fifth. If you get up there and I want you to tell the truth, like I said before, if you don't recall certain things, you can say you don't recall. That's fine. I want you to tell the truth. I don't expect you to remember every single detail from 2015. I just don't. Nobody here does. But what I do expect is for you to answer questions so we can get through this, so you can go home, be with your baby for her birthday, see these dogs deliver their babies, or go talk to your nephews and do all these other things. Copeland, how do you know about my dogs? Hilton, because you told me. Copeland, okay. Bumpus, what's wrong? Copeland, I'm stressing at another level, like. Bumpus, I mean, can he say, I'm saying? Copeland, I'm weak, man. I'm not playing. I'm dead serious, man, like. Bumpus. Oh, no, sorry. Hilton, this is what our position is. We do not want him in custody. We want him to tell the truth. We want him to testify. That's what will get him out of jail. And you have to make Bumpus. If he decides in 2 weeks that he wants to testify, then what? Hilton, if he wants to stay in jail for 2 weeks, then I don't know why you would want to stay in jail for 2 weeks. I have no idea. Bumpus, he just feels like he's under a lot of pressure right this second. Copeland, even at the jail, they are just, you can't give me house arrest? Hilton, no, you can go home by taking the stand and testifying. That's what court says, and come back tomorrow. Hilton, we keep on saying yet, but there's no crime. We keep on saying yet. I don't know who is telling you about a crime. There is no crime. You have done nothing wrong except for not. Copeland, why am I in jail then? Because you aren't testifying. But that ain't nothing wrong. It's not a crime. Thank you, Kenneth Copeland. Gee, no law degree, did not pass the bar exam, still able to understand that asserting your Fifth Amendment right is not a crime. Miss Hilton, it's not a crime, but you're in civil contempt. The court, 2 things. Because you invoked your privilege after you've been given immunity, that's why you're in custody. Because you get out by testifying, so you testify, you get out. That's why I was going to bring you, why I brought you here earlier today, just to inquire by that. You can remain and hold your position of invoking the Fifth or not testifying. But you go back to prison, you go back to jail because that. Copeland, you can't sentence me. Bumpus, there is no sentence. Court, there is no sentence. Contempt is compliance. They want your testimony. That is all they want, whatever that may be. Copeland, I don't know what it is, Your Honor. Hilton, so listen, you're in jail for failing to testify. The court, failing to testify. Miss Hilton, not for nothing else. There's no crime. You ain't done nothing. I don't know if people are telling you that you're going to charge you with nothing. We are not charging you. The state charges you. There's nothing we're charging with. We are only in custody because you have decided not to testify. That is it. Once you decide to testify, the court, remember that word you were talking about, purge? Copeland? Uh-huh. Okay, you can purge yourself. You can purge right now. Purge, get yourself out of jail just by testifying. Copeland, I can purge and get out of jail. Court, yes, just by testifying. Miss Hilton, not perjury. Bin had motion. Thank you so much for the $9.99 super chat. I appreciate you. It says Glanville deserves an Oscar for getting mad at that attorney who said he overheard Woody was going to plead the Fifth when Glanville damn well knew himself. You know what? You're right. That is such a good point. I completely forgot about that. Wow, you are so right. All of these lawyers in here should get a damn Oscar, y'all. This is amazing. This is like the highest level of drama I've ever been able to witness in my life, really. Okay, the court. Purge, meaning you can get out of jail. You can get out of jail, out of custody by testifying. Copeland. What about the other one? The other word, perjury. Court, that's different. Hilton, that's different. Court, that's a different word, okay? Copeland, can that get me back in jail? Hilton, yes. Court, perjury is. Hilton, it's not what you're saying. It's not perjury. What you're saying is what we call a prior inconsistent statement. So now lying on the stand isn't perjury. It's just a prior inconsistent statement. Your example that you gave me, what if I said I did something and I didn't know you did it, and you said before you didn't do it, that's not perjury. That's a prior inconsistent statement. Brief pause. Bumpus, you've got to make a decision. So if he starts testifying today, he's going home today, Hilton. He should, so long as he remains. But if you get up there and be like, if you get up testifying and we get into it and you start saying, I plead the fifth, we're going to be back here again. Bumpus, but if he says he don't recall to everything, he'll be okay? Hilton, I'm not advising that, but so long as he answers the questions, that's fine. So long as he... Copeland, I did these crimes, I'm telling you that. Hilton, okay, I don't know what you're talking about, but... Bumpus, I think you're going to say you want to get up there on the stand and say something. Copeland, no response. Bumpus, did we find out if he could talk to his family? No. Brief pause. Hilton, I mean, if it's okay, we got the sister's number. Copeland, as my attorney, you gotta. Hilton, if y'all want to talk, let me go somewhere where I can't hear you. The judge is over there, so just speak low so he doesn't hear you. The court, hold on. Glanville handed a document to Kayla Bumpus and exited chambers with Assistant DA Simone Helton, Investigator Long, Investigator Hamilton, and Court Reporter Weaver from 10:53 to 11:28. Holy shit. All right, so we just read 6 minutes. It was only 6 minutes that we read. So they come back at 11:28. I mean, who knows what they were talking about together. All right, Mr. Copeland, you've had an opportunity to talk with Ms. Bumpus, your lawyer, and Ms. Hilton, the state's counsel. Have you got any questions? No, Your Honor. Is it your desire to give testimony? Yes, sir. Okay, all right then. Do you all have some clothes for him? I don't know. Let me go take a look. What size are you? I can't hear you. What size are you? Little. What age are you? Grown. What size is Lauren? Medium. Investigator Hamilton, we had a large jacket for him on Friday. Large. Hilton, you had a jacket for him? Yes. Oh, but he can't wear large. What is your waist size? 34? Copeland, 32. Court, chest, what are you, 34, 34, 36? Hilton, probably 36. Copeland, not in my chest. What do you mean? Court, size. Hilton, what size are you, small or medium? Copeland, small or medium? The court, they're going to try to get you some clothes so you don't have to testify wearing that jail uniform, okay? You guys see what I was talking about Woody being invisible? I mean, they're just talking. Oh, small, medium, 36, and I can, it's like a sketch on SNL. It reads like a sketch on SNL. It's absolutely crazy. Okay, here is where I decided that Copeland is super smart. This right here, this sentence is my evidence that Copeland knows exactly what the F he's doing. Yeah, Julie, we wear jackets in court. They're just talking about a sports jacket, not a big fluffy jacket, okay? All right, so Copeland says, y'all don't want to show the people how y'all did me? Here's my fake mic. Drop. Whoa, Copeland. Y'all don't want to show the people how you did me. The court says, look. Hilton says, if we can't find clothes, then you may wait. You may have to till tomorrow. Copeland says, I prefer to go in like this. Hilton says, I understand what your preference is. Nah, don't hide it. Can you make him put on clothes, says Bumpus. Bumpus knows they can't make him change. No, says Hilton. Copeland says, I want to go in there like this. Hilton says, fine with me. Court says, all right, okay. Copeland said, you ain't going to try and lock me back up for this? Hilton says, so long as you testify, we will get an order to get you released. Bumpus says, today. Court says, whose copy is this? Hilton says, you got to make sure you come back now. I want it to be real clear. Copeland, when have I ever ran? You have not. That's the only thing, you have not. Court says, whose copy is this? Hilton says, that's ours. Do you want a copy? You can take it. Bumpus says, okay. Hilton says, do you have yours or you threw it away? Bumpus says, I'm going to give him both of these things so he can have some information. Hilton says, okay. Court reporter says, are we off the record now? Court says, are we done? Bumpus says, I believe so. Court says, okay, we're good. See everyone downstairs in about 10 minutes. And they end at 11:31. 3 minutes later. Where's the discussion about Woody's safety? Where is the discussion about Woody's safety? Like nobody's actually gonna talk about Woody's safety. So we're going to have this ex parte meeting to talk about Woody's safety, but we're not actually going to talk about Woody's safety. Okay. So we're going to have this hearing to talk about Woody's safety, but all we're going to do is actually just talk about whether or not Woody will testify. Okay. All right, I need to take a quick comfort break. So while I do that, I want you to play this video. I want to play this video for you that I found over the Wednesday. I found this on Wednesday, and it is from Kayla Bumpus's YouTube. So I'm going to play this while I run off to a quick comfort break, and I'll be right back.
So, Kayla, can you share a story about a time when you faced a major setback in your career and how you bounced back from it?
This is a tough question. I've been practicing for 7 years, which is like a toddler in the law field. And to this day, it's only been up for me. I can say I have grown over the last year and that I've been very blessed. God has really prepared me mentally to face any situation.
Okay. And how do you balance your work responsibilities with your personal life? Tell us what that looks like.
I really don't believe in work-life balance. I say this because my work is my life, just like my kids are my life, my hobbies are my life, and I live them all, I love them all, and I do that together. I've learned how to navigate them accordingly and shift focus when it's needed.
That's awesome. Can you discuss a time when you had to make a difficult decision that impacted both your work and your personal life?
When I left the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, it was one of the toughest decisions I have made to date. I had no clue what...
Okay, that's all we can watch. I'm sorry. I cannot deal with this video. The Gavinci jacket with the chest hanging out, it doesn't work for me. It does not work for me. I ain't feeling it. Y'all lawyers could do whatever you want, but not me. Not me. The Ferrari, y'all. Okay, let me see what these comments say, and then we're going to get into these motions and orders, because there's been a lot of movement since the judge put a hold on things. So, thank you everyone for being here. I am Lauren Cadillac. I am an attorney in Dallas, Texas, aka OG Cadillac. I am also Mother of the Decade. My daughter called me that. I love following cases and trials, and I am a litigation attorney, courtroom attorney. Started following this trial because of the First Amendment issues, and man, it has been the most fun train wreck I have ever seen. So we just went through the entire transcript of the ex parte meeting. I do think that is the entire transcript. I do not think that the court reporter didn't give the entire transcript. But I do think during those pauses, I think a lot was said off the record. I also believe that transcript shows the intimidation that the state has been using. And I would argue that the immunity order is another form of intimidation. Well, we're going to give you immunity, so we're going to force you to testify, and we're going to force you to not have a Fifth Amendment right anymore. And I'm sure it happens all the time. I find it to be disgusting. Hilton will not lose her bar card over this. I really do hope someone turns this transcript in with a bar grievance for both her and Miss Love, but they are not going to lose their licenses. They're going to be punished, maybe. They're not going to lose their law license. So it is crazy that Glanville then went into the courtroom and got so mad that they knew the conversation, or that the defense knew about this ex parte conversation, because this conversation doesn't really incriminate anyone but the prosecutor, and all that incriminates her is like a bar violation, an ethics violation. It's nothing that would cause a mistrial. I believe, because remember they talked about the email that his name's already left my mind. He's my hero, and I already lost his name. Anyhow, that he emailed and he said, you're going to get Woody killed. And then they proceeded to not say one freaking thing about Woody's safety. Absolutely crazy. DJ Dialogue, while I was reading that, said, why is the state talking like the cop? The state is the cop. Prosecutors are part of the long arm of the law. I had friends at law school who were like, yeah, I'm going to become a prosecutor. I said, vomit. You can be a shitty ass piece of the law without having to take all the student loans to become a lawyer. Vomit everywhere. You are literally part of the long arm of the law. Jay-Z raps about this. Who wants to be part of that? Not me. Claude says, I am convinced the prosecution's trying to throw this case. I don't think so. I think the prosecution's trying to win at all costs in any way necessary. Conditionally accepted says if he doesn't remember, he can say, I don't recall, like Oliver North. I don't recall basically means yes, usually. I love how Woody came back at them. It was amazing. Demetrius says, thank God I don't live in Georgia. Yeah, no kidding. Matt asks if you have the option to not accept immunity. Apparently not in Georgia. I really don't know a lot about forced immunity. It's not something I've ever run into in my own career, and I've probably read about it in law school. And though it looks like I just graduated a few days ago, I in fact graduated like 13 years ago. So I don't remember. I'm guessing that it's perfectly allowed in Georgia, and that makes me sick because it is a way to circumvent the Fifth Amendment. But RICO is basically a way to circumvent the burden of proof of beyond a reasonable doubt. So since Georgia has RICO, it would not surprise me that they are also able to circumvent the Fifth Amendment. It's crazy. Jiggy says Woody might be smarter than the judge. You might not be wrong. You might not be wrong. Demetia says, can the court reporter sue for daily emotional turmoil? No. I wish. God, I could have sued the shit out of AT&T. When I worked there, they were horrible. How about he said he read lips and they keep talking about perjury? Yes. I was always behind when I read the transcript. Now hearing you read them, this does not flow like a conversation. You're right, Emily. It's very interesting. It feels, well, it does flow like a conversation, but it feels a bit jagged. And I definitely think we are missing, well, we know we're missing the body language aspect. I think we're missing some other aspects maybe that there's a whole 2 minutes off the record, right? So Matt says maybe you should testify to every crime he committed. He still has time, Matt. He's going to be able to come back and testify. Hilton is an adjunct professor of law at Emory. Interesting. The judge looks sad when he recused himself. I think he was. Ron, hopefully this is kind of like law school. I'm hoping to teach everybody about the law. And, maybe 10, 15 years from now, I'll teach you enough that you all could go sit for the bar. Who knows? Let's see. Glanville did Bots wrong. I don't know who Bots is, but I think she was fine. I mean, Glanville is... Who is Bots? Do you guys mean Bumpkus? Kenneth, the court reporter did not say they were back on the record. She just started typing again. That should be sufficient. When there's typing, that's a record. You don't really need to say it. Yes, Beer Run. They're going to make a wonderful television series about this case, and I cannot wait. I personally will be lined up at the door to see that. Oh, so exciting. Copeland, okay, Inés, welcome. Good to see you today. Copeland did say I did these crimes, but Copeland never said I murdered Nutt. So a lot of the things that were upon information and belief in Brian Steele's affidavit are not actually in this transcript. So I think, this might not be a popular opinion, but I think a lot of Brian Steele's affidavit is just drama. I think a lot of it is like I said, the criminal defense is a very dramatic area of the law, and I just kind of feel like a lot of what he said in that affidavit, well, I think it came from a very complicated version of telephone. I think Bumpus sat through that meeting. I think she went and told Melnick, and then I think Melnick went back and told Steele. And maybe Melnick embellished. I mean, you all have played we've all played telephone, so we know how these things get mixed up, right? And we know how saying the sky is blue could turn into like I've never seen the sky and it's green. So let's see. Oh, all crime, all black, all the time says, why is Hamilton still sitting around if he was hitting on the witness? Is Hamilton the one that was hitting on the witness that oh shoot, what was her name? Started with the A. That is so interesting. And I wonder if they've done anything to him. I wonder if he's had like a write-up or anyone's had a discussion with him about how inappropriate that is and should never happen ever again. Grateful says, I don't drink. I don't drink either. I quit drinking 5 years ago on the 17th. So in 12 days, I'll be celebrating my 5-year with no alcohol. And I would highly encourage all of you who drink to stop. Highly encourage it. Whether or not you have a drinking problem, I encourage you to stop. Your liver will thank me. Your liver is going to be like, oh my, you need to listen to Lauren and take her advice some more. Tall Glass said, it wouldn't surprise me if Gaither was there. It would me, because Gaither does not like doing her job. She's not going to do a bit of extra work at all. And since she's not on the payroll, she's definitely not going to be in there. Toothless Tiger, welcome. Good to see you. Toothless says, I believe there were 2 ex parte meetings, Friday 6-7 after court and Monday 6-10 before court. Interesting. I don't know if the judge was in the meeting. We know for a fact that the prosecution talked to Woody, though, on Thursday when they're not supposed to. Let's see. When Woody asked to take the sweater off because he's hot, they removed the handcuffs while testifying so the jury wouldn't see the handcuffs. Demisha, they always remove the handcuffs before testimony. Well, unless the person is like a terrible risk. Julie, thank you. I'm glad you like these glasses. Hey, Travis, welcome to the live. Y'all, Travis designed this for me on the stand. We're not ready with merch yet, but Travis Haight designed this for me. His website link is in the description. He is a fantastic artist. A ton of the art in my home is his. I like supporting artists. Like, I like to buy real art and do all of those things. Like, so if you can help real artists, I would like that too. Let's see. We don't know Steele. Okay, well, we know that there was video from the hallway that the judge mentioned where Kayla did speak to Steele. But I just don't see that Kayla embellished that much. And I wonder if Steele did the embellishment, but I really think there was, I think we played a game of telephone. Sweet Lady Sugar says that, Woody was smart to make them put everything in writing. Woody is like, my guess is Woody is the smartest person in that room. while we're reading the transcript of the people in that room, Woody is definitely on top of it. Bumpus is good too, though. I liked how she talked. I like how she did her, how she would respond, but not really respond. I thought that was great. Ben had motion says attorney loves burden shifted in her opening. We know it was a mistrial then. It's crazy. It's crazy. Nobody was worried about Woody's safety. And then it's crazy because actually Woody's friend was murdered after all this. So what I believe is that, well, let's get into it. Hold on. So Judge Glanville, I'm going to skip ahead, guys. I got to skip through the, I cannot read all of the comments. I'm sorry. But Judge Glanville there's going to be a recusal. Hold on. Where did I? Okay. So this order came through on the 2nd at 5:11 p.m. And it is an order signed by this judge. Okay, and it is an order requiring written response to recusal motions. All right. So this case is before this court to consider a motion to recuse Chief Judge Uriel from hearing any further handling of the above captioned case, two defendants and counsel for a witness. So specifically, the motions are Diamante's motion to recuse, Jeffrey Williams' motion to disqualify and recuse, and non-party Bumpus's motion to recuse. Time is of the essence given that a jury trial is currently paused pending resolution of the recusals. Therefore, the court hereby orders the state to file a written response pending recusal on or before 5 p.m. Monday, July 8th, 2024. All right, so let's get into my timeline predictions, okay? This judge has required the government's response by July 8th. I'm going to write this down. Here in Dallas, we are given 3 days to respond to a response. So let's say, I believe then Steele, Bumpus, and Kendrick's response is going to be due by the morning of the 12th. And I'm guessing this is going to be heard either the 15th or the 16th of July, the recusal. Okay. This judge who's on the recusal, she's a woman, Krause, I think is her last name. She is going to review what we just reviewed, the entire transcript that we just reviewed. She is going to go through it. And she is going to determine if the judge should be recused. Now, based off what I read in that transcript, based off my word for word that we just read together, I do not believe that Glanville is going to be recused. I do not believe, yes, there was an ex parte hearing, and no, that's not allowed, unless safety is an issue. And if you recall, in the first 2 pages, they talked about Copeland's safety concern. Now, they completely ignored his safety concerns after that, but they did talk about his safety concern. And when they did that, I believe that the ex parte hearing is no longer like an issue for the judge, in that it's no longer inappropriate. Now, what the lawyers did at the ex parte hearing, that's for the bar to review. But this judge is going to review what Glanville did. And I do not believe it will give rise to recusal. Which means, in my opinion, and by my guess, we are going to have the jury seated again on July 22nd. Okay. Now, you guys know I love YSL Weinstein. YSL IP, he is a good lawyer. He is silent but deadly. I've talked about this before. The guy doesn't speak a lot, but when he does, he drops bombs. Now, he wrote this motion to disqualify the judge whose order we just saw. And I'm going to go through it real quick because it is actually interesting. Defendant Kendrick, by and through undersigned counsel without waiving any other rights, files this motion to disqualify Fulton County Superior Court judges from ruling on recusal of Chief Glanville. So Kendrick and IP Weinstein, or YSL IP, is saying, I believe that none of the judges in Fulton County Superior Court should be able to rule on Glanville's recusal. That makes sense to me. Just listen. Following a motion to recuse filed by Kendrick on June 12, 2024, Glanville subsequently entered an order of recusal on July 1st, directing Kendrick's recusal motion, as well as 2 others, be heard by another judge pursuant to Uniform Superior Court Rule 25.1 et sec. And that means and sequential, so the things that follow after it. Based on the Odyssey system utilized by the clerk of Fulton County, Judge Rachel Krause of Fulton County Superior Court has been assigned to hear Kendrick's refusal motion. Okay, so we just saw her order. Her order said responses are due by Monday. Okay? Based on guidance by our Court of Appeals and at least one opinion of the Judicial Qualification Commission, it is inappropriate for any trial court judge to preside in any action wherein one of the parties holds a judicial office on the same or any other court which sits in the same circuit. Appeals turned this a bright line rule. That means that's it. That is the rule. You can't cross. There's no exceptions. It's a bright line in the sand. Boom. To avoid even the appearance of impropriety. Remember, we talked about that when we were talking videos ago about Glanville and should he recuse himself or should he be recused. The judge is to avoid any appearance of impropriety, period. Judge Krause and any other judges within Fulton County should recuse from hearing Kendrick's recusal motion. All right, this is why this is interesting to me. Of note, in the companion case, Kendrick versus C.J. Glanville, the Honorable Judge Belinda Edwards, sua sponte, that means on her own, recused herself today, July 2nd, from the petition for writ of mandamus. This was keeping with the guidance of Georgia Transmissions and JQC Opinion 220. Okay, so remember, IP Weinstein, or YSL IP, filed a writ to the Supreme Court. They denied it. They said you first have to file that writ in the Superior Court. So they did. Remember I told you they're just editing and they're going to refile it. They edited it, refiled it, and it was assigned to Belinda Edwards. Judge Belinda Edwards, immediately, sua sponte, on her own, that means without a motion, without a response, she said, I am recused from this. I cannot issue a petition when one of the parties is Glanville. And she passed it on. So, Weinstein is saying to Krause, the judge who has ordered the response from Glanville by Monday, that she too needs to recuse herself. That no judge in Fulton County should be able to hear this recusal motion. I think he's right. If the other judge did it sua sponte, judges don't do stuff sua sponte a lot. It's something that could be questioned quite easily. Well, why did you do that? Nobody asked you to. You know, what was the point? You weren't being requested. This is not a request to the court, so why would the court do anything? So when I see that a judge sua sponte recuse herself, that says to me that it is proper for a Fulton County judge to recuse themselves. And the Judge Krause should also recuse herself. Now, even if she recuses herself, there is a pending jury trial, and so it will be held with urgency. Whatever judge it lands in, whether it stays with Krause or it goes to a new judge, it will be heard with the utmost urgency. And for now, Glanville's response is due by 5 p.m. Monday. That order stands. So until Krause is changed or different, Glanville's response is due 5 p.m. Monday. So, you guys know the white guy that sits in front of Glanville? You know, the lawyer clerk? Yeah, his weekend's gonna blow. Because what he's doing right now is writing the judge's response. Willie King asks, is the judge become a witness for cross? That is a potential here, and that is an argument that's going to be made in front of whichever judge ends up hearing and deciding this recusal, whether it be Krause or another judge. They are going to determine that. If he has, in fact, made himself a witness, the case will not be able to go in front of him any longer. Now, if he's recused and he's moved, they're just going to assign it to a new judge. There's already a jury. They're just going to have to, like, go set up a new judge's courtroom. And maybe the judge will recuse him. I don't think so. Based off the transcript, I don't think so. But let's say he is recused. Then they're probably not going to resume on the 22nd of July, but maybe like the 29th of July or early August. But I do believe that by August 13th, when I come to Atlanta, we will be able to sit in a YSL trial together. Okay? From afternoon that day. Hey, Renette, glad to see you here. Hey, Coco, AR, Daniel, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, everyone that's here today. We've had over 1,200 people in the chat at one point. So make sure everyone's hitting like. All right. Another exciting thing that occurred on this trial on the 1st is a proffer. All right. This notice of attorney proffer after being prohibited from cross-examination and presenting a full critical defense at trial. Well, we already know who sent this in, okay. Comes now Jeffrey Williams by undersigned counsel and files this and shows. All right. On Tuesday, May 14th, during direct of Agent Rossi, lawyer Hilton represented the state of Georgia on behalf of Fulton County, played over confrontation clause and hearsay objection. In October 22nd, 2015, at 9:33, recorded jail call of Jimmy Winfrey and a person only known as Rashad. During this recorded telephone call, Rashad explained that he heard from another unknown person that a Porsche vehicle as well as $250,000 was waiting to be given to Mr. Winfrey once he finishes serving time in custody. The prosecution theorized this vehicle and money were rewards for Winfrey's silence not to speak with law enforcement about who, if anyone, was supposedly the person or persons responsible for the Tour Bus shooting and other gang-related crimes. Okay, I'm just going to pause real quick. A proffer is an offer of proof, is another name for it, just like my name is Lauren Cadillac, a.k.a. OG Cadillac, a.k.a. Mother of the Decade. A proffer is an offer of proof. Basically, what you're saying is you're making a record to the court, and this is for appeal, that says, if I were allowed to properly do XYZ. So the court said I couldn't do something. If I were allowed to do it, here is what you would have learned from it. Here is what I would have been able to take out on the cross or whatever it is that was blocked, and that preserves it for the appeals record. All right. So that's what a proffer is. And I love that Steele always includes these links to... Someday maybe Steele will include a link of my video and not just a long crime video. Maybe he'll link to Lauren Cadillac and her opinion. Wouldn't that be the coolest? Okay. To date, based upon information and belief, Rashad and the other unidentified unknown person, as well as Mr. Winfrey, have not and will not testify at trial. Go back to the hearsay video, and you can see why this is an issue. Okay? Because we have hearsay in this video, and now we have the confrontation clause because it's a criminal defense. It's a criminal act, a criminal case. They are allowed to confront. Undersigned counsel does not know the identity of Rashad or the unidentified persons and therefore cannot locate, interview, or call any of these people as witnesses. Mr. Winfrey is severed in custody co-defendant, and based upon information and belief, he has or will exercise his constitutional right to remain silent. So I can't cross-examine Rashad because I don't know who the hell that is. I can't cross-examine the people who are unidentified because I don't know who they are. And Mr. Winfrey is a co-defendant, and he will rightfully and legally claim the Fifth Amendment, so I cannot cross-examine him either. That's a predicament. That's violates the Sixth Amendment Confrontation Clause. And so the reason Steele does this proffer, this offer of proof, is like, yo, the Sixth Amendment, the Confrontation Clause has been violated, and if it weren't, here's probably what we would learn about it. After playing the above reference recording for the jury, admitted to evidence, the prosecutor questioned the agent and elicited with approximately a month of the recorded jail call. Winfrey pled guilty to indicted charges in Cobb County. And again, a link. The prosecutor's clear import of this testimony is to persuade Mr. Williams' jury that shortly after being promised this vehicle and money, Mr. Winfrey accepted responsibility for this crime in order to show loyalty to the supposed gang. Thus, Mr. Winfrey did not fight his then pending Cobb County indictment by proceeding to trial and instead sat mute in prison because he sacrificed himself for the betterment of the supposed YSL gang by entering this guilty plea. That is not at all what I got out of the prosecution. The prosecution is doing such a terrible job that only the people who are truly intimate with the facts and the knowledge of this case actually know what the prosecution's trying to do. The rest of us are like, oh, I had no idea that was their goal. Oh, is that what they were trying to do? I really thought they were just wasting my time. Is rough. The prosecution has not presented this case very well. This break is a great thing for them because maybe they could go like regroup and learn how to like tie in a theme. It's really bad. All right. On Tuesday, May 14th, lawyer Hilton and everyone connected with this case knew or had a duty to know that Winfrey's guilty plea entered after this jail recorded conversation was deemed involuntary. Oh, I remember that. Yeah. And was withdrawn by the trial court, specifically the superior judge, was found to coerce Winfrey into entering the guilty plea involuntarily. Thus, so Steele had asserted that the prosecution got in this guilty plea to show the loyalty to the gang, and he had argued about this in court or outside the presence of the jury, saying, hey, they did that, but like he was coerced into that plea. It had nothing to do with the gang. It had to do with the judge who coerced him. Which, what the fuck is going on in Atlanta, y'all? Cobb County is like near Atlanta, part of Atlanta. Like, what the fuck are these judges doing? Is it really that bad there that these judges are willing to like risk their judgehood to like make these horrible calls to get witnesses and coerce people into giving up their rights? It's unbelievable. Okay, so this is the involuntary guilty plea. Okay, counsel objected to the questioning at bench conference, told the court it was wholly shocking. See, this is why I think maybe I should get into criminal law, because it is so dramatic. It was wholly shocking, untruthful, and misconduct for the prosecution to knowingly use a coerced involuntary guilty plea against Mr. Williams at trial. I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. I just really like how dramatic it is. The level of dramatics is amazing to me. The court denied the request for any relief, admonition to the jury to ignore, exclude, and remove any testimony regarding this month later guilty plea. Further, the court ordered undersigned counsel not to cross-examine the agent on this false and leading topic. Later in the day, undersigned counsel made a proffer concerning the desired cross-examination of the agent, since the court ordered undersigned counsel not cross-examine the agent on the topic of this coerced. Okay, so remember when we got into this proffer or an offer of proof, we talked about it's when you're stopped from doing something, you explain what would have happened if you were able to do it. Because of the court's undersigned counsel forfeited his cross-examination regarding the accuracy and completeness of his testimony, and undersigned counsel was prevented from correcting the prosecution's intentional use of coerced, withdrawn, vacated, and involuntary guilty plea. Undersigned counsel intended to cross-examine agent to challenge the above referenced trial testimony, blah, blah, blah. Test about the guilty as well as an Alford plea, where Winfrey maintained his complete innocence, so on and so forth. Williams has been denied his constitutional right to present his defense and denied his constitutional right to cross-examine. Absolutely, 100%. This attorney proffer is made to ensure these topics are properly preserved. A mistrial should have been and should be declared based upon the court's ruling that denied Mr. Williams' constitutional right to cross-examine, his constitutional right to present a defense, his constitutional right to call a witness, his constitutional right to a fair trial, and his constitutional right to due process. See the actual United States Constitution. It's never good when you're citing the actual Constitution of the United States. Like, at least they follow that usually, and then there's some weird convoluted law that they break up. No. Here, it's not a convoluted law that they broke. It's like the first laws of the country ever. The most important ones. Unbelievable. This attorney proffer continues. I just if I could handle the stress of being a criminal defense attorney, I think I could do a great job at it. I mean, I love it. Ayana, thank you. Let's get these likes up, y'all. Make sure you're hitting like. I appreciate everyone that's here and everyone in the chat. Thank you so much. Okay, on Friday, June 7th, witness Copeland asserted his Fifth Amendment right in front of the jury. That should never have occurred, as, based upon information and belief, the prosecution team, as well as this court, knew that Copeland was going to do the same before Copeland was testified. That goes back to that comment earlier. The judge should win an Oscar because he pretended like he didn't know. Before the same occurred, undersigned counsel did not know that it was Mr. Copeland's intent to refuse to answer questions in front of the jury. Once Copeland invoked this constitutional provision, undersigned counsel immediately moved for a mistrial, which was denied. Then the court denied Williams' counsel's request to call witnesses to prove the prosecution team knew that Copeland intended to invoke the Fifth in front of the jury. Counsel desired to call Fulton County DA Investigator Long and Lieutenant Lannis, I don't know how to say that last name. It's probably French or something, I don't know. Lannis Quo or so, who knows. Who was also employed by the DA to memorialize their knowledge that Copeland expressed he would invoke the Fifth in front of the jury. Moreover, undersigned counsel intended to call reporter George Cheedy to testify that he was ordered immediately prior to Copeland taking the witness stand and refusing to testify to not video Mr. Copeland when and if the court ordered him to be arrested for refusing to testify. So you didn't know he was going to plead the Fifth, but you asked reporter Cheedy to not record. So you didn't know, but you knew? Fuck out of here. If true, this court had knowledge that Copeland would refuse to testify. See Exhibit D. This is the article by the... See, this is by the thing. Oh, he quotes Macbeth. This afternoon, Glanville jailed Brian Steele, the lauded attorney representing Thug, on the racketeering case. The court is not supposed to be this dramatic. Seriously, stop watching Law and Order. This is so true, you guys. Like, I have never in my life been part of such a dramatic... I mean, I had, like, the one dramatic one, which I read to you last week, but, like, this has been... Oh, and he is so right. Before we go into today's madness, I'd like to discuss what happened in court when Kenneth Copeland took the stand Friday. If this trial is a drama, you wouldn't build the story around Young Thug. You would build it around Lil Woody. Copeland is a quasi-everyman surrounded by forces larger than himself, whose life circumstances and bad decisions have led to extraordinary turmoil for everyone around him. He's a survivor of chaos in his own making, though you might wonder how. Ooh, this guy can write. This is a good... Hold on. What is this guy's name? George Cheedy. George, if you're watching, I would love to interview you. This is beautiful writing. Copeland grew up in the bottom in Mechanicsville. After being robbed by a YFN gang member at Club Crucial, he approached Thug and asked him to rent a car. The car was used in the drive-by for Nut. Woody is the one who can connect Thug to the murder, the one who could say definitively if Williams knew it would be used in on a hit. What do you bet Woody just asked to rent a car and then went and did it on his own? Woody was famously captured on a leaked interrogation tape from his 2021 arrest weapons charge, begging for a way to talk the cops out of sending him back to jail. It's clear today he's been quietly talking to the police for the better part of a decade, which may be why the charges from 2021 were dropped. Needless to say, an awful lot of people want Kenneth Copeland dead. Damn. Okay, Woody's screwed. The DA offered immunity. The deal means he can't plead the fifth, and yet that's just what he did Friday in front of the jury, which is why Uriel Glanville sent him off to jail for a weekend on Rice Street. Defense counsel flipped out. Unlike the movies, courts are not supposed to let people tell a jury they're pleading the fifth. That revelation is supposed to be made without a jury present because the witness is telegraphing that they've done something so bad they're afraid they'll go to jail, or if they talk about it in court, which tends to make people think you're a criminal when you do so. Makes sense. Steele called for a mistrial, but before he could get the words out, Glanville told him the prosecution couldn't have known Woody would do that, since the last thing he said at court, after some resistance, was he was going to testify. Here we go. And I have to call bullshit on that. Glanville knew there was a reasonable basis for the prosecution to know Woody would pull that stunt, because I knew and I told him. "5 minutes before Copeland took the stand and was summarily carted to jail, two sheriff's deputies pulled me, the video camera operator from Law and Crime, and Sylvia out of court to tell us not to record an arrest if they had cuffed him in court. I protested, and the deputy said they had instructions that came from Glanville, and that the judge would put it on the record if I asked him to, which I did. I called his staff attorney over and told him the deputy's instruction was in conflict with my Rule 22 order, which, after a court hearing that cost me some money, explicitly allows me to take pictures of everything except the jury in court. I asked for the instruction to be placed on the record, and he agreed. I saw him talk to Glanville moments after our conversation. Glanville did not, however, put the order in the record. He let Woody take the stand and beclown himself and get swept off to jail." What the fuck? You know what? You know what? Let me go back. Let me go back. Let me go back. If Glanville responds on Monday the 8th at 5 p.m. as he is supposed to, I believe the response to his response, if it's allowed, if Steele is allowed to respond to the state's response, to Glanville's response, it will include this. If it includes this, and it should include this, if it includes this, then maybe Glanville will be recused after all. If the recusal judge is looking at only the transcript, it's not likely Glanville's getting recused. But if the recusal judge is looking at this whole picture and gets this in a response, and this is before them, let me go back. 5 minutes before Copeland took the stand and was summarily carted to jail, two deputies pulled me, the camera operator from Law and Crime, and Sylvia, from infamous Sylvia, out of court to tell us not to record an arrest if they had to cuff him in court. I protested, and the deputy said the instructions came from Glanville, and the judge would put it on the record if I asked him to, which I did. I called his staff attorney over and told him the deputy's instruction was in conflict with my Rule 22 order, which, after a court hearing that cost me some money, explicitly allows me to take pictures of everything except the jury in court. I asked for the instruction to be placed in the order. He agreed. I saw him talk to Glanville moments after our conversation. Glanville did not, however, put the order in the record. He let Woody take the stand, beclown himself, and get swept into jail by a bailiff. What the F? What? It, What the fuck? What the fuck? Y'all, I feel like I read about stuff like this, like, coming out of, like, the 40s and 50s. Not, like, modern. This is crazy. From whom did the court receive this information? Why did the court not reveal the same to counsel before permitting Copeland to testify? Attorney David Botts announced in open court that before Copeland took the witness stand, Copeland uttered in close Botts is YSL grandpa, got it. In close proximity to members of the prosecution team that he would go to jail and refuse to testify before being called as a witness. When Botts announced this proffer to court, the court stated it had a problem with Attorney Botts. Oh yeah, I remember. He said, I'm mad at you, and you should have brought this up earlier. The blame belongs on the state for calling Mr. Copeland and knowing they have reason to believe that he would refuse to testify in front of the jury. The same blame is attributed to the court if it knew the same information before Copeland testified before the jury. Mr. Williams and his counsel were in the dark. This is crazy. I'm glad this reporter wrote that word for word. I would like to see that reporter come in, and I bet whenever the recusal hearing is, which I'm guessing it's going to be early, like 15th, 16th, 17th of July, I bet and I believe and I pray that Steele calls that reporter in as a witness. I would call that reporter. You're my witness. You're coming. I would subpoena his ass, and he would be coming to testify. And it sounds like he probably want to. All right, during the cross-examination of Gaither by Maxwell Shard, counsel for Stillwell, Detective Gaither improperly injected her expert opinion on the criminal street gang YSL committed a shooting of another person. Immediately, counsel objected and asked for a mistrial. At a bench conference, this court found the demeanor of Maxwell Shard goaded the detective into giving this unsolicited, prejudicial testimony in front of the jury. Are you fucking kidding me? As proven in the trial audio video, Attorney Shard never goaded this improper prejudicial testimony by Gaither, and therefore the court's observations to perfect the record are hereby challenged. Wow. 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 Oof, sorry guys. I gotta take a damn breath. This really is like communist Russia. No wonder Steele was out here screaming, this is like communist Russia. This is unfucking believable. This is, yesterday we celebrated our independence, okay? 248 years ago yesterday, a bunch of old white dudes wrote a letter to the King of England and said, we ain't doing this shit no more. And then they proceeded to create all these laws and these rules saying, hey, you know what we're not going to do? We're not going to block people from talking how they want to. They can talk shit about the government all they want. We're going to allow that. We're going to allow people to own guns. And we're not going to make anybody quarter any damn military. Just because you have a house and we have a military doesn't mean you have to quarter them. And then we're going to do this, 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 and this, and this. I guarantee our founding fathers are pissed. This is okay, so I found the stupid ass article. Here's this article I found about Glanville. Okay. I'm telling you, this is one of these paid articles. There's no way he did not pay for this article. It's from 2016. It talks about him growing up. Apparently his mom got pregnant without a husband, so she dumped him off with his grandparents, and then she met a husband and came and picked him up, took him to Canada, which I'm actually headed to Canada at the end of this month. I'm going whitewater rafting with my daughter. Very excited. Oh, he played ice hockey, which is normal for people in Canada. And then I guess his stepmom and him got divorced. You see, he is absolutely, and you can tell, he's the half-brother, right? You can tell that he has a different father than these three. These are his siblings. But you can tell. You can always tell when the father is different. If you look at my kids, you can tell they have different fathers. All right? Then he went to college, and in the 80s, Reagan took steps to reduce government spending. Let's say, how about ruined our economy for like my entire life? Fucked the economy. And so he joined the ROTC, and then he went to boot camp, and then he became a brigadier general, and then first he went to law school, then he became a brigadier general, and then he married this woman Lisa. This is his wife, who she favored. She kind of looks like Miss Love. These are his two kids. This is his family in 2002, so his kids are adults now, I'm assuming. So I don't know why he's sick all the time, because he does not have school-age children at home, as I thought he did. And here, to read more American stuff. I just really feel like that's a paid article. And I think he paid for that, probably when he was, running for an office or something. Someone who served in the military should, in my opinion, be more cognizant of the Constitution and make better decisions to uphold the Constitution and not just kind of shit on the Constitution at their leisure. Just my personal opinion. Woof! Okay. Now I'm going to go through comments. Thank you, everyone who's joined me today. Thank you for all of your likes, your subscribes, all of my members, everyone who's donated on Cashapp, everyone who's done a super sticker. I really appreciate you. Thanks to you, I've been able to acquire a better working computer. I soon will have a better camera. Not today, but soon we'll have a better camera. I've got better equipment, so we're able to do this better. I really appreciate you guys and all 100% of your contributions to this channel. All of your messages, all of your comments, your likes, everything. Love it. Raynette, I am not older than anyone. I was born 5 days ago. Just kidding. Just kidding. But if you ask my kids, they'll tell you I'm 34. Because that's the age I told them to tell people, and they know better than to disobey. I'm a really good mom, but they know. Like, one time my son, he was in 6th grade, and he was in this, like nerd competition, some mathlete thing or whatever, and so my daughter and I went to say hi to him during the competition and support him. And we walked in, and they were on a break, like, the timing was perfect, and all these little boys were like, oh, Noah, is that your mom? Is that your mom? He said, no. These are my sisters. It's my younger sister and my older sister. He pointed at me, my older sister. I've never been so proud of that child in my life. Kid graduated high school valedictorian. He is kicking ass at college, but that moment is what made me the proudest. I'm his older sister. I love it. Okay. Oh, I wanted to watch the plea deals with you. Okay, so last Friday, there were a bunch of plea deals that did not get taken. And I loved the judge that was reviewing those, or that was presiding over that ceremony. He was, oh my God, he was so on it. He was so sassy. He was so sharp. And he made a comment that this trial has been going on like longer than God created the earth. So I heard he's a retired judge, and maybe that's why he's being flippant. I love it. I love it. Okay, guys, I'm trying to get to the chat, but it like literally will not let me open it. Okay. I feel like I've read to you like so much today. I did a lot of reading today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Okay, I did more reading to you today than I probably did to my daughter her whole little baby life. All right. Elaine says Steele is using this proffer for mistrial. No, that's incorrect. The proffer is to preserve the record for appeal. The only person that can call a mistrial is the judge. The judge should have called a mistrial in the opening when Miss Love burden shifted, but the judge chose not to. So we know this judge is not ever going to actually call a mistrial. So the proffer he did is for the record for the Court of Appeals. And it's well written, and when the Court of Appeals follows those freaking links, yeah. I'm really hoping that that article, or at least that the gentleman from the article testifies at the recusal. Because I believe if that testimony or that portion of the article comes out, there will be a recusal. I hope so. Pretty Black Girl says, can the judge step in and declare mistrial for prosecution? Well, like I said, the only person who can declare the mistrial is going to be the judge presiding, the appeals court, or the Supreme Court, if somehow they get wind of it, right? And this judge is not going to call a mistrial. He hasn't yet, even though he should. Tavana says, I don't believe it's going to be trial in August. I do. I believe it's going to be trial in August. They have a seated jury. This is going to be top priority. If the new judge in Fulton County does not think that she needs to recuse herself, we're probably going to be in trial before the 29th, before I leave on my little vacation to Canada, taking my baby to Canada, and we're going white water rafting. And we're going to be in the trees, and it's going to be cooler weather, and I can't wait. Jane says, educate us on charging the jury, which is most important thing of the evidence. The what is how, because the judges only one put it together and then ask the lawyers on charges. Well, they will write jury charges if they ever get to that point, and it will be 3 or 4 days of just chatting about what the jury charges will be. I think it will be really interesting to see if they remember all of the things the judge said he would put in the charges as they've gone along, because like we're 10 months in. It's been a lot. So Jesse says the odor of mendacity is rank. Trap Addict said the judge was working with the DA all the while. Well, we always knew that. Like, we know the judge and the DA, the same person signs their paycheck. So Raynette says these Atlanta mosquitoes nibbling on me like the restaurant grand opening. Might not make it till August. Girl, I didn't tell you to go there now. We're all arriving there on August 13th, okay? We're just staying one night, and we're going home on August 14th, all right? But I do believe that we will be in trial. By the time the date I plan to be there comes back, I do believe we'll be back into trial. And if we're not, I'm going to try to see if I can meet with some of the lawyers. I'll pay like their consult fee if I have to. I don't care. Let's see. Raynette came from Washington. Iverson says, Kayla said that they did not that long. I don't know what that means. They did not what that long. Monica says this judge is a bully. I disagree. I don't think this judge is like even ballsy enough to be a bully. Miss Love is a bully, and this judge enables her behavior, but this judge actually doesn't know how to be a bully. He's kind of a weenie, if you ask me. Like, he doesn't even have control over his own courtroom. I've never been in a courtroom where the judge is not like people talk over the judge. No way. No way. Monica says Miss Sylvia talked about it on her channel, and she is supposed to be there at the meet and greet on the 13th, which I should have plans for you in 2 weeks. I'll have better plans of what that actually looks like. I'm sorry, I've just been drowning in work, which is wonderful for me, and I appreciate all of you that have been supporting me. Kayla's going to talk about the transcript and what happened in the chambers. Chip says they won't have to subpoena the author, the writer of that article, and I agree. She had no idea. CJ says it's by any means necessary with the state. It is true. And it's sad. We read about that. Like, we read about it in law school, but I kind of thought we were over that by 2024. I guess not. Uriel playing with the records. Let's see. And Stuff says, I found your channel today and I'm here for it. Love it. Thank you, And Stuff. Thank you for joining us. I hope you hit subscribe. I'm really trying to get to 6,000 by the end of the weekend. So thank you for being here. Let's see. I've never heard a court going through all these changes. V says they only wanted to get on the stand so they could be able to show and play the videos and phone calls. You're absolutely correct. They have no use of Woody except for his phone calls, and the only way to get him in is under him. Well, I guess they could have get him under the cops, but there's a confrontation clause, so they're going to have to get him under Woody. Let's see. People want to watch. Oh, Daniel, thank you. Please give a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Daniel, you're wonderful. Up on here advocating for me. I appreciate it. Thank you. Plans and Pens, good to see you here. People thought Steele was being dramatic in his back and forth with the judge, but it's totally okay. He was being dramatic. Like, there's no doubt he was being dramatic, you guys. They are very, the defense attorneys are very melodramatic, and I love it. I'm totally here for it. But again, it is justified drama. I talked about this in the beginning of this live stream. These are lives at issue. People's lives and livelihoods are in the hands of the government, and it is dramatic, and that is important. So, yes, they're dramatic, but they should be. All Crime says, I don't think we should be governing ourselves by laws written by old white men hundreds of years ago. The law should change. Unfortunately, they have, and they've eroded at what the old white men gave us, honestly. So I think we should actually rewind and go back to just those, but keep the 14th Amendment. So, like, keep the amendments and rewind the rest of the shit. That's my thing. Coco says it's normal to be raised by grandparents back then. Yeah, I know. My grandma was dumped by her great-grandma. So, Tall Glass says the judge is not fit. I mean, he's not fit physically and not fit mentally for the job of judge, I believe. Someone says, I wish YSL had the support of Karen Reed. I do think the YSL trial has a bunch of support. I also think there were some crimes that actually were committed, so maybe that's why you don't see as much support. Okay. Jean says, I don't believe the judge's profile. I think you're right. Anthony, I am changing my opinion on the recusal. I think as long as the judge is able to see this article that we just read, then he actually will be fully recused. I really do. Yeah, so the whole bond thing is crazy. Like, why won't they let these people, like, work from home, you know? Like, especially with Thug, you know, it's Steele's third time asking for bond. He's like, the dude is too famous to run away. Also true. Kiki, thank you. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate everyone that is here. Anaya, the court reporter will not testify, but the press reporter will, I think. The court reporter will not be required to testify. AR says he's a bad judge. This is true. Ron says the jury's confused at this point. Okay, now don't you think now? I have always said that I believe the jury is not looking shit up, right? I have always said that. I have always said that juries take their job very seriously, and I believe they are following the rules of the judge. They are not looking this up. But the jury is probably like, why are we still on break? Why is nothing going on? And certainly the jury, being full of people who live in Atlanta, are hearing about this around them. I believe at this point, the jury must have seen something. There is no way that none of the jurors have seen anything or looked something up. There's no way they're taking a break this long and then just, like, not curious. Like, come on. Jesse says, you must be an 80s baby too. Yes, Jesse. but I look like a 90s baby. Is it normal for the court to never say at any point in the transcript when they are on and off the record? Shouldn't they say we're back on the record? Yeah, usually they do say we're back on the record. You usually did that. Blue Sky said Glanville's mom didn't raise him well because he's unethical. Well, his mom didn't raise him. His grandparents did. Also, once my son is like a grown man, like if he's old enough to like be a judge or something, you're not putting that shit on me. Right now, while he's 19 and 20, how he's behaving out here at college and stuff, you could put that on me, okay? But when he hits 40, 50, 60, do not put that shit on me. Let's see. YFN Glanville would have definitely allowed the interrogation videos through the cops. It looks better if it's Woody. I agree. He would have allowed it through the cops. I don't understand what his deal is. Tortamom says, what do you think Simone and Adrian are working on? Like adding more witnesses? I don't know. Probably. Hopefully they're narrowing their witnesses down. I don't know. I really don't know. They're not working on the response. I'm guessing they're taking the full day off today. That they took the full day off yesterday. They're going to take the full day off today. And then take the full weekend off. Then maybe when they come back to work on Monday, they'll start working. Maybe they'll start working the witness list. Trying to figure out. I mean, if I was them, I would constantly be like, who can I get rid of? Who can I, whose testimony can I not use? Like, how can I get this to move faster and quickly? But they don't seem to give a shit. They're the government and they print money, so they don't really care how long it takes. All right. Film all cases because who knows how often this happens without cameras. Shawnee, that's the scary part, right? Like, this is in front of cameras. Imagine all the shit they've done with no cameras there. Imagine this going on in courtrooms across America every day. Trap says this is not RICO. They would have done better trying them for individual crimes. I agree. There were crimes committed and they offered pleas. They can't have it both ways. Grand Geek Financial says court reporter may have to testify about gaps in the transcript. I don't think so. She should be able to work under judicial immunity and she should not be forced to testify. So I don't think we'll see her ever testify. Who would want to be a court reporter if you had to get up and testify about your job every 5 minutes? Literally no one. Little brother, no, I don't think the transcript was redacted. I think there was a lot that didn't happen on the record, or a lot that happened when they were off the record, so there is no transcript of it. And I think we lost a lot in like the body language and stuff, but I don't think it was redacted. Hey B Rabbit, welcome. Oh, you're new. Well, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Make sure you hit subscribe. We convene every Friday at 10 a.m. Robert says the jury has to be put in a medical coma not to hear anything. You're totally right. At this point, how could the jury not hear anything? Like, at this point, I am confident that at least 2 or 3 of the jurors have heard something. Maybe not the 78-year-old and the 72-year-old, but certainly the younger jury members, at least one of them has seen something. I agree. Let's see. Hilton and Love was tag teaming to put the defense off track, like nothing amiss. Okay, but it obviously seems to be like their MO. This is what they're doing in Fulton County. Jiggy said, if I had 2 weeks from my job, I wouldn't even think about that place. The jurors are probably sick of hearing this YSL. I think the jurors are sick of it too. I agree. But at a certain point, you're like, why aren't we in trial? And how much longer is this shit going to take? And you start Googling things to figure out how much longer it's going to take. I do, at least. I'm very curious. Micah says, I'd be looking every day if I was a juror. No, you wouldn't, because the judge told you not to, and you would take that really seriously. Jean says they're innocent until proven guilty. Yeah, that's true, except it's not actually true. That's true, but we don't actually see that ever in application. And especially when you have the jury of public opinion. Okay, so. The way he lets Love run the show, I know who wears the pants is home. Okay, Jesse, we've been talking about that for a long time. very much. Shawnee, thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate the thank you. I appreciate everyone that's here. Thank you so much. I am just trying. Really, I just started doing this because I love these trials and going over this shit, and I would be going over it anyhow. I would just be torturing the people I love with the information. So instead, I came out here to the YouTube, and I found a community of people who don't think it's torture when I talk to them about this stuff. So it's wonderful. It's great. And I've been able to spare my children and my dude like hours and hours of discussing this trial, and they are very thankful because last summer they had to suffer through the Melly trial without y'all. We had to go through the whole Melly trial, and I did not have y'all to talk to about it, so I had to talk to those poor people. I am Mother of the Decade though, so the Dweller, we don't know what crimes he's talking about. We have no idea. We just know that he's lying. We know he always lies. We know he says he's lied. He says the only time I'm truthful is when I tell you that I lied. Who would date that guy even, though? One jury lives in the area. I know her. She's hearing everything. Micah says, I know they're looking. I mean, honestly, like at this point, I would be looking too if I was a juror. I'd be like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, why are we on all these breaks all the time? That would be really weird. I'd also want to look into why the judge takes such long comfort breaks. It would really bother me as a taxpayer. The Visionary, thank you so much. Oh my God, a $20 super chat. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Most of the parts where it has dashes are clear redactions or omissions. I don't think so. I think they're just gaps in the speech. The sentences are incomplete and not coherent, which indicates there were parts removed that would actually be... I mean, it might, but I disagree. I really think that the gaps and the... It's just because these people talk to hear their own voice. They don't actually have, like, cohesive thoughts. You know, so I think it's a bunch of, like, just talking and just talking to hear your own voice kind of stuff. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Ayana, the Melly trial was very interesting, and we're going to get back into it while this trial is on pause. I'm going to recap it and talk to you about where they are now. There's been a lot of like little things happening, but I don't know if that guy is ever going to get a trial, and I don't know if it's ever going to be a fair trial. It's crazy. Lady Chameleon says nobody here around here cares about these trials. Well, I am glad you found us, because everyone here cares about these trials. All right, this is our place where we get to talk about the trials and not burden our families and not irritate them by going on and on and on and on and on, as I tend to do. So welcome to the party, and thank you for being here. Let's see. Okay, Jen, thank you. I love watching trials too, so I hope that you continue to watch trials with us. We're definitely gonna follow YSL because this has the First Amendment issues that I'm so interested in, okay? And that's how I came to it, and I'm gonna stick with it. So we're gonna be following that. I am gonna go over Melly, there's no doubt. And then the another case that really interests me is the Sarah Boone case. The reason it really interests me is that her and her dude were drinking, and she zipped him up in a suitcase. And pretty much anytime people make mistakes while drinking, I'm interested in that because I quit drinking. And I see it, and I'm like, that's a reason there's so many reasons I quit drinking, right? But I'll be like, that's one of the many reasons I quit drinking. Because I never want to go to jail because I shut someone in a suitcase. Which I never would. But you understand my point. Sometimes you do dumb shit when you're drunk, okay? And that is why I don't drink, because I don't want to ruin this wonderful life I built for myself just by like getting drunk and zipping someone up in a damn suitcase, okay? That Sarah Boone thing is whack. And what's even crazier is she is her 9th attorney. She's not going to have another attorney. And she just thinks that, like, she's right. She thinks she has a video telling him, I'm leaving you in the suitcase because you deserve it and you did me dirty. And she thinks she's, like, innocent. Like, oh, well, I fell asleep. Crazy. So I will definitely be talking about Sarah Boone. I'm definitely going to go into the Melly because the Melly is super interesting. And the Melly has like a lot of location data, or may not. We'll see with the judges. The judge has excluded a lot of evidence for the second trial. But the location data is fascinating to me, and it makes me hate my cell phone. I used to have like the watch that like tracks stuff. No. If you have an Apple, they know every step you take. They know every step you take. So that's why I like listening to that stuff. I'm like, holy shit, they know so much. When I watch that Alec Murdoch, and they're like, he walked to the left 3 steps, then he walked to the right 3 steps. I'm like, holy, they know fucking everything. I'm not giving away that kind of shit. Y'all are gonna have to get a warrant if you want to know what I did. Yeah, Gene says Karen Reed got bond after being arrested for murder. Why Thug is in jail is completely confusing to me. And he's in a place they won't turn off the lights. He has lost some weight. He was having some serious kidney issues, though. Crazy. Jane says, why wouldn't they look at the whole picture? The transcripts seem like some things are missing. Well, Jane, the motions, the judge looks at what's in the motions and attaches the motions. So unless they have a chance to update it and enter new evidence and call in witnesses, it might not get heard. I don't know. I don't know what the standard of review or what they do in that. But here it says there's no statute of limitations on murder. That is correct. Hilton lied to him, and she was constantly talking to him. They want to win at all costs. It is true. They do not give a about the Constitution. They just want to win. They just want to put people in jail. Gross. Everybody in the judge's chamber is a witness. Yeah, we're about to find that out. The new judge will tell us that, okay? And I think you're right. Ayana said voluntarily being agreeing to be put in a suitcase as well. Even if I agreed to go into a suitcase, I couldn't fit in a damn suitcase. I've got way too much body to fit in a suitcase. So Sarah Boone's going to be fun. All Crime says, I'm waiting for the Young Dolph trial that getting pushed. Oh, I will definitely watch that. That will be interesting too. Bob says they totally ruined Woody as a witness. Uriel, Fannie Love, and Hilton should have their own RICO. Try our entire government. Every piece of every bit of our government. Crazy. I think it's not cohesive in the transcript because Woody is playing them all and he's just confusing them. Well, he's definitely doing that. Jen watched Millie too. Shawnee says, Young Dolph and Tyree Nickel. Okay, so hold on. I'm going to write these down. I'm happy to do these. Look. I love watching trials. So if it was going to come on Law and Crime, I'm going to be watching it anyhow. I might as well do it with y'all. Y'all are fun. Y'all are fun and you like me. So I'm going to do it with you. Okay, so hold on. We got Young Dolph and Tyree Nickel. All right. Written down. Okay, Torta says, I live in Utah, and I love your swearing. I swear a lot in my head. I can't do it around my kids. I love your channel. I always swear around my kids. You know why? Kids spend only 18 years being kids. Then they spend the rest of their fucking life being adults. Like, the rest of their adult lives. So I always respected my children in the sense that I knew they were future adults. And I never treated them like kids. Like, I put shit on their level. I wouldn't overwhelm them with stuff that, isn't, like, you didn't tell a 2-year-old that the sky is falling. But, I still, even when they're 2, have in mind, like, it's only going to be a kid for a little while. None of us are kids forever, hopefully. And I really do think more parents should think that way. Who knows? I wish my mom had. Let's see. Apple is the feds. Yeah. Coco uses her Apple for work reasons. Ooh. Julie and I are Android users. Okay. Julie and I, we want our privacy, damn it. Jane says that's why the bailiff was so quick to put Steele into lockup order. I thought the bailiff was really nice to Steele, actually. So, Marley says, even with Google, if you put your phone in airplane mode, they still pick up every step once you reconnect. Really? They could get your steps even if you're, like, not connected to the GPS and stuff? I gotta get back. I want to go back to, like, a digital-ass flip phone, dude. It's so over. Are the state allowed to lie to a sworn witness? No, JC, the state is not under oath, and yes, they're allowed to lie. The government lies to us all the fucking time. Not a word that the government says should be taken as truth. Should always be verified. Because they lie to us all the fucking time. Especially prosecutors. Especially cops. Bob says Hilton has multiple ethics violations in trends. She sure does. Yeah. Black Butterfly says John O'Keefe took 3 steps down, steps on, and they still gave Karen a mistrial instead of acquittal. I think that's because the old people, old people be on these on these juries, and they be thinking the government is okay. Ridiculous. One thing my dad always taught us, we had like 3 rules, right? And the most important one was no police. No police. Because my dad was a pothead. I can say that now because he's deceased and they can't come after him. He really just didn't want to lose his whole life for some weed. A fucking plant, right? Come on. Eric says he has developer software to switch everything off. That's a good idea. The more you switch, the better. Y'all, if your washing machine is connected to the cloud, undo that. The government does not need to know when you wash your clothes. Okay? Don't give away free information. Ayana says, not one lawyer reviewing the transcript saw Woody as concerned for his safety. It was just to remove his fifth ad rights. Any judge can see. I don't know. Woody might be concerned for his safety. I didn't see a time where Woody could actually fully express himself. I really didn't see anybody actually listening to Woody and Woody's actual concerns. So, I don't know. Does the judge have to release the full transcripts and audio or to the judge overseeing? I don't know. I don't know what the judge is required to do. I'm sorry. Yeah, Coco, I do be snapping. I told you guys earlier, I'm on a tear today, okay? I've been on a tear. What happened was, I thought no one would be at the office, and my gym is in the office. So I thought no one would be at the gym. I showed up at the gym, and there's 2 women there, and one of them's on the treadmill that I like the most. I consider it my treadmill. And I'm like, what? I was so pissed. It made me so mad. So terrible. Then I had to say, calm down, Lauren. You can't get upset about someone being on a public treadmill. Okay. Gina says go back and look at before they put Woody on the stand. We know. We saw Miss Love. We saw her reaction. We knew that she knew that he was going to take his 5th. We knew that. Laddie says, I hope to see the Nicole Verisi trial. I don't know who that is. That sounds interesting. Daniel's going to quit asking you for likes, but I appreciate it, Daniel. You are an excellent salesman. Very persistent. Very persistent. Okay, Julie says, see page 40, line 22. Julie, tell me what it says. She's got more than half a life, so she's good. That means her life went good. Definitely feel Woody is concerned. Woody should be concerned for his safety. His friend got killed. He is. The other witnesses said they were concerned for their safety. The other witnesses said that they were concerned for their safety. So if they're concerned, so too should Woody. F Cherry, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. F Cherry has sent me tons of dollars on Cashapp, and I super duper appreciate it. Thank you so much. Jesse from the NAP says, please have taken protect and serve off their vehicles because legally they aren't protecting and their job. It's not their job. I know, because they don't protect us or serve us. They used to, but they don't. Eric says, don't forget air source heat pumps that connect to Wi-Fi. Why anyone would want to remotely access their heating is beyond me. That Nest shit, I don't have it. I don't have a Ring. I don't have any of that. I did have a Nest. I made the landlord take it out. I said, hell no. Jean says, I'm not going to watch Alec Baldwin. It makes me nauseous. I won't watch the Alec Baldwin trial because I think it's bullshit. It's a freaking accident. It sucks that this woman passed away. It really does. It's so bad. It's so wrong. I'm so sad for her. But not every death requires someone to be jailed. Like, that it's not, like, just because someone, like, had gotten an accident happened and someone died, doesn't mean people have to go to jail. I think that's ridiculous. JC, what is the difference between extortion and Woody having testified against his Fifth Amendment? They both look like extortion to me, except it's legal extortion when the government gives you immunity you don't want. Only different. Okay, guys. This has been awesome. Y'all are the best. We've had so many people here today. I've had so many super chats, so many super likes. I really appreciate it. Jay, you must be new here. You must be new to seeing how my brain works. I talk about things, I get distracted. I talk about things, I get distracted. The only place I ever like stay on point properly and well is in a courtroom. And that is because I'm fucking nervous as shit. So I get that super anxiety. It makes me super lawyer. I stay so organized. But I'm not nervous with y'all. I love y'all. We're here just having fun, talking about this case. And you know, when I'm reading over here, y'all keep page 40ing me, but I already put the damn transcript away, and I don't have page 40. The Kayla Bumpus Gavinci Rari thing is on her YouTube. I can't watch it, guys. This is a no for me. Okay, line 17, page 31. They knew on Thursday. But here, I went in great depth when I went through the transcript. They knew Thursday at 6 p.m. the dude had a lawyer. And Friday morning, they're opening the door of his car talking about, is that your lawyer? Well, why the fuck did you give him immunity if the lawyer said he was going to take the Fifth? If that's not his lawyer. Oh, but they didn't know he was going to take the Fifth. So why did you give him immunity after 6 p.m. on Thursday? These sons of bitches. I swear to God, y'all. Okay, I hope you do watch the video. Thanks for rewatching. Thank you everyone for your thumbs up. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for your subscribes. Thank you for joining me today. I will for sure be back next Friday at 10 a.m. Probably talking about Melly, although more stuff might happen in this case, in which case I'll talk about what happens in this case. But it is my goal to recap the entire Melly, like everything that happened. So, we'll see. We'll see. I have a lot of writing to do this week in my lawyer work, so. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Please make sure you've hit like or subscribe or both. Make sure you share this with your friends. Make sure you tell your friends all about me. Share the channel. I'm trying to have 6,000 subscribers by the end of the weekend is totally one of my goals. I hope to see all of you on August 13th. At the courthouse in Atlanta, and then of course the meet and greet if you can't make it to the courthouse. And as always, I appreciate you for joining. If you need an attorney, it's cadilaclaw.net, 972-845-1200. All right, y'all, thank you for joining me today.